Hey everyone, before we jump into today's episode, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, Open Water. As a chef and restaurant owner, I know how important it is not only to serve amazing food, but also take care of our planet. Open Water makes that easy with their eco-friendly bottled water packaged in 100% recyclable aluminum bottles, helping to reduce the plastic waste. What's even cooler? Open Water is a female-owned company leading the way in sustainability, something we can all get behind. And here's the best part. They're giving our listeners 20% off. Just use promo code INTHEWEEDS at checkout. So whether you're hydrating your team or stocking up for your restaurant, make the switch to Open Water. Delicious water, a healthier planet, and great discount. Cheers to that. All right, I'd like to give a big shout out to our sponsors, Saltwerk. You can check them out at saltwerk.com. You ever wonder what a pinch of Iceland would taste like? Well, you have it now in the most sustainable, flaky sea salt in the world. I've actually traveled to Iceland. Their geothermal powered island is beautiful. There's just a sense of freshness in the air over there, and it translates to this salt. I love this salt. It's delicious. It's the most sustainable. Again, you can buy just the normal flaky sea salt, but they also have infused salts, which I've been using at home lately a lot. They have this birch smoked sea salt that I love using with seafood. They have the lava salt, which is super black and cool looking. It's got a certain different type of taste to it. They have the Arctic thyme salt, which I use for my pickling liquids. And again, guys, just don't think of salt as something to season post recipe. You can use all these salts in the recipe alone. At We The Pizza, we use their flaky sea salt in our dough preparation. And they have this seaweed salt that I just used at an event that I loved at the Indy 500. I made a plant-based crab cake, and I was looking for a little bit more of that ocean flavor. Guess what I used? Saltwerk's seaweed salt gave me just that ocean flavor that I needed for my plant-based crab cake. It was a hit. Guys, if you want to use my promo code, you can. It's at In The Weeds Pod. You can use it on their website. You'll get a 20% discount on all their items. Stock up. This salt is amazing. And again, it is powered 100% by geothermal energy, the most sustainable sea salt on the market. You're welcome. Get yours. No Salt Bay in the house, just Saltwerk. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the In the Weeds podcast, where we dive deep into the craziness of the restaurant industry and so much more. We discuss food, beverage, even food policy issues. Basically, if you love to eat and drink and are curious about this industry, this podcast is for you. I'm your host, Spike Mendelsohn, a recovering celebrity chef, a long-life restaurant rat, from washing dishes in my family's business to cooking in a Michelin star restaurants, competing in reality cooking competitions, and serving as an advocate for food policy issues. My life is always in the weeds. We're broadcasting live from the District of Columbia, our nation's capital. On today's episode, we're joined by the legendary chef Erik Bruner-Yang, three-time James Beard Foundation Award nominee, and the chef owner of Maketto, amongst many other endeavors in DC. We're going to hear all about them. Please welcome our guest, whose favorite board game is Monopoly, Sonic the Hedgehog edition, the yin to my yang, Chef Erik Bruner-Yang. I meant to do like cheers instead of laughter. Sometimes,
laughter's okay.
Laughter's okay. All right. It's just like, Sorry about that, man. Sorry.
What other samples do you have there?
I got all sorts of samples, dude. They give me this little keyboard. I figure I put it to use. If you come up with like a really bad joke.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll just do this over and over again. Dude, man, I'm excited about having you here. Thank you for doing this, by the way.
Yeah, we went to 0 to 100. I walked into the room and bam, we're recording.
That's the thing. It's like, I tell Jason a little bit. It's like I want to come and give you a big, huge hug because we don't get to spend enough time together, and hang out. But I also just don't want to even start talking to you. So we could just record it all.
Yeah, perfect.
There's like a lot of those golden nuggets, even when we were just talking about our wives a little bit.
We should have recorded that.
We should have totally recorded that. Just kidding, ladies. Just kidding. So, dude, what's up? I mean, I've always looked at you as like a trailblazer here in the DC area, and I love always everything you do. I'm a huge fan, so excited to have you here. What's going on these days, dude?
You know, this is my first time in the new DC Central Kitchen facility.
Ooh.
And you did say that's where we're recording, right? So
Yeah.
Sense of context.
Yeah, we give a huge shout out
Yeah.
always to DC Central Kitchen, and we talk about them during the show a little bit too.
Yeah, so this is my first time in the new facility, which is pretty amazing to see in person. And they were just saying that the Capital Food Fight, which is their big annual fundraiser for the listeners, this year will be 20 years, which is crazy to think. I competed in that show, I think almost 10 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
And I lost to other Spike, not you Spike,
the other Spike.
Spike.
The better Spike.
Spike Girde in the finals. But I was telling her, I was like, I won that. I know I won. I made noodles from scratch. It was like 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I totally should have won that.
And what did they make? What do you mean?
I think like a fried oyster.
How do you pronounce his second name?
I think
like
Girde.
Girde.
Girde, yeah.
So Chef Spike Girde.
Yeah.
You know, I have Michelin stars on my wiki because of that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
there you go.
Yeah. People just are updated.
You were like, let me leave it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I joke about it all the time. I was like, you know, I don't control what's on wiki about me. You know.
I don't even know how to edit it.
Yeah. You know, it also says my wiki says best friends with Marcel Vigneron.
Well, I think you guys kind of were, no?
We are. It's just awkward how that would end up there.
Yeah,
like,
he put it there.
Oh,
yeah, obviously.
you probably definitely put it there.
Yeah.
Great call. I mean, you know, it's nice to have you here at the new facility. I mean, you've been at the old facility for, you know, doing demos, or you went to the old facility back in the day?
It always, like walking in here, I just always forget how long I've been working. And I think probably same with you, because it's just like what we've been doing for so long. And then someone's like, hey, the 20-year anniversary is coming up. And you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
It is.
Dude, that's how I'm feeling now.
Yeah.
I'm in the podcast era of my career now.
That would be nice. Give me a couple. I just need two more years.
2 more years.
Yeah.
That's like.
I hit 40 this year, and then 42 I'll be doing podcasts.
That's it. There you go. I'm 42 on the dot.
Yeah, look at that.
I'm 42. I think that's the golden age to start a podcast. So.
Yeah.
You know, Food Fight's always a fun event. I mean, you know, we actually, you know, I'm happy to bring it up because sometimes we just blasé over like the mission over here. I mean, no, we do it justice, but Food Fight, for those that don't know, it's like an epic, you know, charitable event for raising money here in DC area. It's been carried on by some ballers. I mean, Anthony Bourdain used to be the main host for this thing, right? When we were doing our
there,
thing.
it was him, yeah.
Yeah, it was him. And I think we saw Erik Bruner-Yang a few times. I think he was a judge. Anyways.
And Jose was only local celebrity then.
That's right. He wasn't global celebrity.
Yeah, he was only local.
Local, super local.
Hyper local.
My gosh, the guy's a global sensation these days.
It's crazy.
Yeah. We could talk about him for days as well. But, you know, I lost to Scott Druno, man.
Yeah, that's he's basically Chinese.
Yeah, he really
is. This
is
is his month.
This is
PHI month.
7 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. He actually he's going to Montreal in a few weeks. He just hit me up. He's going to have a good time. There's like I don't think he's been there before. So, but yeah, so he made a scallop and I made, I made a beef salad.
Yeah.
I made a Vietnamese beef salad and Anthony Bourdain loved it. And he's like, I'd brush my teeth with this thing, but I still lost, dude.
Yeah, it's like the boxing game. It's just rigged.
Yeah, and he never ceases to forget that win. He loves that win over me.
Yeah,
and he was on the podcast, and like the thing he ended with was like reminding me how he beat me.
That's how you know that he's still a white bro.
Yeah,
and that he isn't actually Chinese.
That's exactly. I feel you. So, dude, what is going on these days? Like, I was introduced by you because of back in the day, Toki Underground. I basically lived at the Pierce School, which I think you eventually lived in.
We rented a space at your old apartment.
Yeah,
as like a shooting studio office for about a year or two. Yeah.
Yeah, but what I've enjoyed about your career is that and I'm trying to figure out like where you are in your head these days. It's like it seems like you've done a lot of partnerships and have worked with people and started up these businesses. You've done some consulting. You have some, ownership. You've opened your own restaurants, your own brands that you own, and it's like you've had a very wide array of different structures. Mm-hmm. And so like how's that panned out? And like what have you learned from some of those things? And like what do you like the best these days? Do you like still doing are you still doing consulting? I know you were involved with N Pizza, for instance, and like.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we could kind of look back, and I guess to give everyone some context, so I opened my first restaurant when I was 26. In 2011, it was a ramen shop here in Washington, D.C. called Toki Underground, which at the time, I think historically was the first actual ramen shop to open inside of the district. And they kind of kicked off the ramen kind of scene here in D.C.
100%, I can confirm that.
Yeah, and it was just that time period in general was an amazing time to be a restaurateur in D.C. It was like Obama era Washington, D.C. There was just such an influx of just all these people coming here and being creative and doing fun things. And that's when we really started to see a lot of like independent restaurateurs really kind of branch off. And that was my first place. And
were you from here?
I am originally from Taiwan.
Yeah.
And then my stepdad was in the military.
Yeah.
And then so we landed in the DMV around, I think, 97.
For your first generation here, United States?
Yeah, I immigrated in 88.
88, okay.
And then, but I've been living in D.C. now for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
So I think there's got to be a time limit where you can just change where you're from. I feel like 20 years is it.
You know, the Toki Underground days were amazing. And I call them the days because you're right. I love how the Obama era ushered these young entrepreneurial artists, chefs, musicians, comedians, all sorts of different stuff.
All kinds of stuff.
And it was amazing to see DC busting the scenes. I mean, I'm from Montreal, via New York, via Spain. Yeah. You know, like, so I had no business being in DC. I was just like right time, right place kind of thing. Yeah. And it was just like the golden moment, I think, for the industry. I think, like, you know, I remember, I talk about this quite a bit sometimes, but I remember coming to DC and calling it a second tier city to New York City and getting so much shit for it. Yep. You know, like press came out, the woodworks.
But you weren't wrong.
I wasn't wrong at the time. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. I wouldn't even say, I was probably like third or fourth tier. Like there was not much going on.
Yeah, there was not much going on. Yeah. And you look at it today and it's like.
Definitely on par.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But Toki Underground to me was like, guys, like you couldn't, you were taking reservation via, like.
You could drive to New York and have ramen in New York City before there was your time on the wait list. That's right. How busy it was.
That's how busy it was. Yeah. And you were always really nice to me, man. You always got me up there.
Don't tell people that.
You know, I won't.
I'm just joking.
Telling everybody. Yeah. But this place was so cool. It had like a skateboard, like ramp-ish.
Upside down.
Yeah. And it was just so raw. And it, you know what it did for me? It didn't make me look at. It just felt like it's not like, I'm trying to say this in a good way. It wasn't like a less serious restaurant, but it was just like, hey, like, I'm just gonna fucking hang out, do my thing, be in the environment that I would just kind of want to hang out in. Yeah. Right. Surround myself by like what makes me feel comfortable. Right. You're a skater to a certain degree.
Yeah, I was definitely a good poser.
Yeah.
But I liked it.
But you liked it, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, so then that's kind of how it started you out, man.
Yeah, my vision was I got a place that was affordable. Yeah. And my rent at the time was only $2,500 a month. We were like 28 seats. And I was like, I can't really fail at that price. Yeah. If worse, we would need to do 20, 30 customers a day. Yeah. I could do most of this with 2 or 3 people by myself. Oh. And it was just like a really like good way to just be my own boss. Mm. But from day one, we were doing 200-300 covers a day. And it was just crazy.
It's crazy. You'd walk up, you'd see like the big stock pot.
Yeah.
On the burner, just old school style, just boiling.
Yeah. And I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I had only, started cooking professionally maybe 2008.
Oh, really? So how old were you then? I guess
I worked I always worked in restaurants since high school, since I was 16. Yeah. Mostly bussing tables, washing dishes, serving, bartending, hosting. And then in college, I did a lot of short order cook stuff at little diners. Yeah. But I had never really been like, oh, I'm going to be a chef. Yeah. And that kind of changed around 2009. I was managing Sticky Rice, which was just a couple doors down, and we were always short-staffed, and so I was always in the kitchen. And the only way they would give me a raise if I switched from front of the house manager to back of the house manager. So I switched to back of the house manager, and then I started, coming up with this idea for the ramen shop.
Wow, I didn't realize that. Yeah. So like self-taught, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And a lot of, at the time, like limited YouTube, lots of books, And then, I worked a little bit at a ramen shop in Taiwan for about a week, and I just kind of took that and just kind of guessed how to do it all, and that's what we did.
Damn, I love it. I love that part. So you were working in the industry during your high school. That's just because you needed to make money, right?
I was an asshole kid growing up, and
Yeah.
I figured no one could tell me no if I had my own money.
Yeah.
And that's basically
why.
how I rolled.
Yeah. And what was the family life like? Was it like surrounded a little bit around food, or is that
No,
you
not really.
created that your own?
Yeah, food wasn't a big culture at home. My dad was in the military, so he was always doing different tours, and it was just me and my mom, and she was working 2 jobs.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of like take care of myself.
Totally.
Growing up, and so, but I grew up working so much in restaurants that just that kind of like working in restaurants just became part of my childhood.
Yeah.
Especially my later part. I worked for Red Robin for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah. Red Robin.
Yeah.
What's your favorite meal at Red Robin?
The Tower of Onion Rings are still really good.
Oh yeah.
And they do, to me, still have the best honey mustard.
Yeah.
Whoever's co-packing.
So
that.
you still go?
Sometimes I'll take the kids. I mean, it's
You got it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's nostalgic.
It's probably one of the last few old chains that doesn't totally suck.
I have a Red Robin by me.
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited that we have one.
Yeah, and they kind of continually try to innovate.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done Fridays and Ruby Tuesdays and things we all enjoyed growing up, and they get worse and worse.
It's crazy to me because the guy that owns the Red Robin by me has owned it for, I don't know, like 20 plus years or something like that. It's like a legacy Red Robin.
Yeah, they keep it clean and they have good systems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, so like so you take this huge risk leaving sticky rice to go do this, right?
Yeah.
Right? And then like, did it feel like instant gratification right away kind of thing? Like, because it hit hard pretty quickly, no?
It was busy from day one.
Yeah. How'd you garner, what was your ports of garnering some marketing? Like, what was the thing that made it?
Well, I think at the time, because there just wasn't a lot of interesting stuff happening in the city, we were definitely one of the first of the very few cool, like, oh my God, we can't believe this is happening in Washington, D.C. stuff. And we kept getting also so delayed, and ramen was a big thing. David Chang was still just becoming a big deal. And Ippudo was like, everyone was talking about Ippudo on the East Coast back in the day. And so the city was just really prime for our concept. And, at the time, I was, a pretty big drug user, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And
During the Toki days.
Pre-Toki days.
Oh, pre-Toki days.
And at some point in like 2010, I was like, I'm never going to achieve anything unless I get clean.
Yeah.
And so I got clean, and then everything kind of really started lining up. Then it's like we finally finished the restaurant. We opened the restaurant, and then things were just going really well, and I was like super hyper-focused.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was like all that energy I just transferred into work and just worked my butt off.
Well, I mean, listen, you're basically telling the story of DC Central Kitchen here, right? Like where all these, all these guys that are, not all of them are formerly incarcerated, but a lot of them come from troubled backgrounds and drug addiction. And, this place is amazing because they give them that like second, third, fourth, even chance, at a shot at life, and they get this awesome culinary training here, and they go out into the world and do good and cook, right? What was it like? What was your juice? What you?
I loved cocaine.
You loved cocaine.
Yeah, I loved it.
I think you liked it into the Toki days a little bit too. No, or
no,
did you stop?
Totally
you were
clean.
totally clean by then. Yeah. So were you irritated also? Like, were you struggling with like? It must have been tough. You open a brand new restaurant. It's super stressful.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have changed my entire like management ethos over time. One, because it's just like people, you just kind of age out of that. Hopefully, you're not always angry. At everything that's like for no reason.
Totally.
And then also just like we get older, and the people that work for us stay relatively the same age. Yeah. All of your kind of core employees. And every generation is completely different, and learning to adapt to that is like key to longevity. Yeah. Yeah. What do you like about this business the most? Like why are you in it? Like why? Because we all know it's at this point I don't think I have any choice.
Right. Okay. So
and I think for people that really love to stay busy, there's always something to do, right? Yeah. There's like nothing that can't be done on a daily basis in terms of productivity, especially if you are still into operating your restaurants day to day, which I'm definitely still into.
You like the operating.
Yeah, I prefer at this point, like, I like the day-to-day operation versus like thinking about like how am I going to build my business or build my brand. I'd prefer to have like one good restaurant that can make money, that can stand the test of time, and then, you know, try to figure out other financial creative freedoms versus like I got to have 5 restaurants or 6 restaurants.
Were you at the point at some point where you wanted to have 5 restaurants? Like
pre-COVID, I had 7 restaurants and 300 employees.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, really? And I'm like, yeah.
All under your operating?
Yeah, all under our operating just here in Washington, D.C.
Wow, that's a lot of operating, my man.
And a lot of people are like, you really had that going on? I'm like, yeah, we really had that going on.
Yeah.
And, you know, we lost it overnight.
Yeah.
And now the only restaurant left is Maketto.
Yeah.
Which was my second restaurant after Toki.
Yeah. Why'd you lose them overnight, you think? I mean, obviously the obvious pandemic, COVID, but
yeah, it was a lot of COVID, and most of them were management deals.
Okay.
Right? So we had a management deal with the Line Hotel, and they switched owners during COVID, so they, you know, closed the management deal, and that was 2 restaurants in there.
Yeah.
And then we had a management deal with Whole Foods.
Yeah.
And we had 4 locations with Whole Foods.
Yeah. Oh, you were the original Whole Foods friend, right?
Yeah.
One of them, right?
Yeah, I think you took ours in Silver Spring.
In Silver Spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when they switched to Amazon, around that time period, I believe.
Yeah.
And, or like right before COVID. And then we left the locations.
Yeah. Tell people what management deals are. There's a lot. Yeah. Like I think people are confused. They just don't know like how a chef is part of a restaurant, whether like it's an owner, you know, or sometimes it's investors and they have no stake or very little stake and they're at risk. And, you know, like, listen, like guys, chefs don't have money to put up for restaurants most often, right?
True.
We don't have a ton of dollars, so we have to figure out really creative deals to kind of hold on to our IP and stuff. But why don't you tell them like what a standard management deal looks like?
So I think I've had a million different types of deals, right?
Yeah.
So Toki Underground, which was the first, was independently owned. We raised maybe $250,000. And I had 7 investors.
7 investors over 250.
Yeah, and everyone just got like dollar for dollar amount based on percentages.
Yeah.
Regardless of like, you know, I created the concept.
Yeah.
So that was number 2. And then Maketto, which was my next restaurant, was also independently owned. We raised about $2 million for that. And then that one is structured where there's 100+ investors that are like on one side of a share called Class B shares.
Yeah.
So they own like the shares of the business.
Yeah.
And then the 2 principal.
Was that a crowdfunding? Was that when you did that crowdfunding?
The crowdfunding.
Because I think I came to that.
Yeah, the crowdfunding was for the real estate. So.
Oh, for the real estate of where Maketto is on.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And then.
So that's separate from the investment for that Oh,
right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So there was like a crowdfunding for people who wanted to invest in commercial real estate, which is still really hard. And that company Fundrise is a great platform as an introduction into commercial investments.
Yeah.
And then we raised the money for the restaurant, and the Class A side, which is me and the other owner, we kind of own the IP and the interest and the recipes, which was kind of like the mistake I made on the first restaurant.
Right.
And then we have a shares agreement between how profits split between A and B.
Yeah, and you have better voting rights.
Yeah,
like they Class A compared to Class B.
Yeah, basically they can have input, but they don't really have input.
Right. Guys, see, it's a tough world out there for those who don't know how to structure these restaurants and get them launched. You know, a lot of chefs do, and I mean, I think this has changed in the industry. I wonder what you think, but I mean, we used to really get taken advantage of our IPs, our recipes, our you know.
I think it still happens because like you're so driven to create your dream that you're willing to compromise on stuff. I think younger people are way less willing to compromise because they're okay waiting. Yeah. Right. I think before it's like, I have to do it now. Yeah. This is what I'm giving up, but I just want my dreams to come true. Right.
Yeah.
I think it is very careful. You have to be careful how to structure, but also just access to information from just 2010 to now is like, there's just so much more.
There's much more. But you know, you're right. You got to kind of start somewhere, right? You know, it'd be nice if like the first thing you do is like the thing you do forever, but that's just not the realities. You got to you got to get out there. You got to get burned a little bit in life.
Yeah, it's just, you learn.
It sucks, but I mean, you got to go do it, right? All right, so then
from there we did management deals because my brand was being popular enough, and then bigger development companies like hotel companies or real estate developers, they would have these spaces, and they're like, we really would love for you to put a restaurant in, and then you really have a lot of negotiating power.
Yeah.
And then at the time, the line opened in 2017, but we signed that deal in 2014, so about 3 to 4 years. Yeah, 3 to 4 years before.
So you're on payroll for 3 to 4 years.
So I was single. I was single when I signed the contract, and by the time the place was opened, I was married with 2 kids. That was kind of like the timeline.
I love that.
And that, that was the kind of like the peak of hotel deals, like around that era. And it was,
and those are fun deals.
Those are good deals. They pay for everything.
Yeah.
And they pay you a fee, either guaranteed or based on sales. You're basically a contract employee.
Or a combination of both.
Or a combination of both. But at the end of the day, just like when COVID happened, if they want to say you're done, you're done.
No protection there.
You have no protection.
Same thing happened to me on a deal there. So, yeah.
But that's okay. I didn't lose any money, and I didn't make money.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's the way I walked away from it. I was like, well, I'm not having.
Could I have been treated better? Sure, but
probably, yeah. We could always be a treat. But listen.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Right? And it's also like an unprecedented time, and people did weird shit, and that's kind of how you learn who you're going to roll with moving forward.
Yeah. So did COVID change your whole thought process on your career and what you want to do, and kind of realigned on what you want to concentrate on? Or
my whole career was everything I worked for was what I thought I was working for was pretty much gone overnight, and then we had to decide which restaurants to try to keep open, and we kept Maketto open through the whole time. I had another kind of Italian Asian pasta shop called ABC Pony. We had opened it in Navy Yard maybe 2 or 3 months before COVID. We kept that open almost all through COVID and pivoted and changed and did pop-ups, and did as much as we could. And then by the time we wanted to reopen back to the original concept, it wasn't working anymore.
Yeah.
And so we ended up closing that kind of after surviving COVID, which was kind of a weird feeling.
Yeah.
And then now it's just Maketto, and we're open 5 days a week, breakfast, lunch, dinner. I'm there pretty much those 5 days working service.
Yeah. So you like working service? You're in there. You're in the grind.
Yeah, it's nice. It's like I know everyone's name.
Yeah.
I know what's going on. I do the orders. I think it's better for the restaurant.
Is it kind of self-fulfilling a little bit too? Because I have to tell you, I do miss.
Yeah.
I miss going on the line. I miss being in the weeds. Let's say, I miss that whole thing. I always question myself. How much do I actually really miss it though?
Yeah, I mean,
it's
definitely consuming, but in a different kind of. I was always so stressed managing other people's careers, other people's emotions. When your company gets so big, you're always thinking about like, okay, how do I mentor XYZ to go from this position to that position? How do we plan for company growth? How do we think about company culture?
Yeah.
Like all of these things, and it's like not what. It was so stressful.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, I'm just like mapping things out, and I wasn't taking care of like what I wanted. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't really still think I know what I want, but I definitely know I don't want to be responsible for like other people's life trajectories anymore.
Yeah.
And that's like in terms of like their professional career.
Yeah.
Like come work for me as long as you want in this one isolated place.
Yeah.
I hope you have a great experience. And when you're ready to move on,
you're gonna move on.
And I don't want to have to think of like, oh, I got to open a place because
this person. I want to prop them up. Yeah. To build my legacy.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I'm good.
Yeah. No, I think that's like, dude, that's a lot of hard work to get there in your own head, right? Just to kind of like come to that point. I think it also just shows like a evolution of a chef. Like I was kind of, I was doing way too much.
Yeah.
Right. And I was spreading myself out way too thin. And then my attention wasn't, the attention that everything needed it just wasn't happening at the time, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny, like, you could set out to, to grow a huge culture and a huge company. It's a little bit of a different wiring than loving to cook and be around people and running a restaurant. It's like it's a complete different. I've learned like it's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So what are you doing for fun these days, man? I know I hit you up for surfing all the time. I was the wrong Eric.
So
I think we're going to
So your podcast host texts me all the time to go paddleboarding in the wrong, but he put me in the wrong group chat.
Yes. Yeah, I do.
But to be fair, he always does go, you are welcome to come.
Yes.
But I wouldn't last 3 minutes on a paddleboard.
Do you do water? Do you do water things? Or?
I love water.
Yeah.
I think I might be like a water-based cancer sign.
Oh, okay.
And a little known fact for me, I swam all through high school and
really?
Competitively, even though I was terrible.
You have like
but
hot
I did
pasta shave parties?
We would have so much. It was weird. Like
my sister was in swimming, so we had these shave
they would
parties
have these
always
crazy carb loading parties.
I know.
And they'd be like, you swim for one, like some of us, the really good ones would swim like 20 events. Yeah. So I get it. But like me, I'm swimming one event by default because they have to.
Right.
But like, I don't really need to eat all this pasta for this to be, But I'm surprised I did it, but I did it. I did it all 4 years. And my senior year, because I was a senior, I ended up being one of the captains. And then my last race of the year, I never won anything.
Never won a race.
Okay. Never placed. But my last race of the year in districts, I got third place.
Ooh.
And then I got disqualified.
For that third place?
Yeah, because I didn't double tap the wall or something. And I was like, this was my moment.
But no double tapping. I think some dude just lost a medal for crossing into someone else's lane after the race and hugging them.
Yeah, or he didn't wait long enough or something.
Yeah, there was a rule, and he literally lost his medal from going underneath the. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah,
this world these days, man, it's crazy out there. So
we just went to the beach with the kids. It was great.
What beach?
We went to Playa de Carmen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for spring break. It's really weird because I've been traveling bi-coastal for consulting right now.
Yeah.
I have a client in LA, and I go about 1 week a month.
And what do you do out there?
There is a legacy Chinese-American brand called Chin Chin. It's been there since the 80s, almost 40 years. And they were on,
I know this place.
Yeah, it was on Sunset Boulevard, and it was a big deal. It was kind of like the Chinese Spago of West Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
And they kind of got big, and then eventually kind of was kind of the precursor of P.F. Chang's. A lot of people left Chin Chin at when they were kind of got big and were starting to come down, and then P.F. Chang got created. Yeah. But it's a pretty cool story. This guy named Juan Lee back in the late 90s bought the brand, and but when he immigrated to this country from Korea, he worked salad station there. No. And then later he created a company called LA Bite, which was kind of like the first kind of delivery platform in LA, pre-internet. So it was a lot of fax and phone, and they had a huge delivery business, catering business, running it out of an apartment.
Faxes and phones?
Yeah.
I love it.
And they sold to DoorDash, or I think sometime.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he was a millionaire, gajillionaire overnight.
Wow.
And one of the first things he did with all his money is he bought Chin Chin.
He used to work there as a salad guy.
Yeah.
And then he bought Chin Chins.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
And it's pretty funny because there's still people that, who worked for Chin Chin 20, 30 years that remember the old owner as the salad maker.
Yeah.
And they've stayed with the company. But, they went.
What a story. That's a great story.
Yeah. So they have 4 locations in Los Angeles, and I kind of helped them with menu innovation and operations and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm finding that it's cheaper to fly internationally doing this bi-coastal work.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Than to fly domestically right now, which was crazy. So usually we go to Miami for spring break with the kids. It was almost 3 times the price to go to fly and stay in Miami than it was to go to Cancun.
So I feel like they get you for everything these days, like a suitcase. Do you want this seat? In
general, I mean, Miami was $500 per person. I have a family of 5, so I got to buy 2 rows. Yeah. At this point, so no trip is cheap.
You have 4 kids?
3 kids, but then you bring a grandma or
somebody. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And it's a 3-hour flight. 3-hour flight to Cancun was $250.
Yeah.
I was like, this makes no sense.
Yeah, we went to Chiburna, Mexico last spring break when it was I mean, we had a huge house on the beach. It was like dirt cheap.
Yeah.
It was great times.
Yeah.
Great food. So do you go, I mean, so chin-chins. I love that you're doing the chin-chin thing.
Yeah, so they credit themselves. One of the reasons why I took the gig was I went and ate at the restaurants. They were like, fly out, see if you're interested. I rented a car. I drove to all 4 locations, which were all different parts of LA.
Yeah.
And ordered the same 3 things at all 4 just to get a gauge of like how shitty the job could be.
Yeah.
And they were all in like a pretty good place, and it was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And they credit themselves as the creator of like the original Chinese chicken salad.
Yeah.
Which is definitely like an American concept.
Totally.
With the mandarin oranges and the
yeah.
crispy noodles and the nuts, and so that's kind of their dish
Their
too.
bread and butter.
Yeah, I mean they're really a salad concept.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Do you know? You must know Sheldon. I think you guys done pop-ups together, or no? Sheldon from Maui.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He just took over a legacy restaurant, which is pretty crazy. He'd been there 30, 40 years. It's called Tiffany's.
Okay.
It's like an Asian eating hall.
So cool.
And it's just so funny to just see him in the space because, it used to be like an 80-year-old dude just sitting at the door, and now it's Sheldon, you know, and it's like this young guy. And I mean, they're just beautiful places. I love those establishments that have been there for like 30, 40 years.
Yeah, and like they have a lot to offer, and just, you want to keep them in the, the dialogue.
Totally keeping the dialogue. We don't want those places to close anymore. There's too many old school restaurants closing. Hey, you're on, Fink. We got our co-producer. Wait, no, you're not on. What mic are you on?
You guys
2?
should buy the movie rights for that story.
Hold on. What mic are you on? 4? 3? Let me turn you on. All right, here you go.
Erik Spike, you guys should buy the movie rights to that story because it's an amazing story.
All right. Oh yeah, you want to buy movie rights now?
I think we should branch out, right?
We could get it for cheap, I'm sure.
I mean, I think it's a great story.
I mean,
how
listen,
he
I've
used to-
produced one documentary.
You did?
Yeah. Well, the Inn in Little Washington. You ever watch the Patrick O'Connell? You know Patrick O'Connell.
Yeah.
Right?
I didn't know. I haven't seen the documentary.
You haven't seen my documentary? No.
I will now.
It didn't really get
Is it on
marketed well.
Tubi?
It's on for 99 cents on Amazon or something.
Oh,
like that.
perfect.
It's called The Inn.
Yeah.
A delicious documentary.
No,
It's
but-
actually pretty crazy cool because it's Patrick O'Connell. He's like,
icon.
icon, and he was, openly first gay chef, and he went into like Little Washington, Virginia, which is this town, which is,
Beautiful, small.
beautiful, small, but like not really friendly at the time. And he took over a gas station and opened up this restaurant. And people tried to get him out of that town so hard. Like they tried to scare him away. They came
And now
after
he
him.
basically owns the whole
He
town.
basically owns the whole town. And it's one of the best. It's one of my favorite places.
Yeah.
Like I love going there. It's just such classic American food. He's known as like the Pope of American cuisine. For those who don't know, go look him up. Go check out the documentary. This was maybe the best marketing campaign we've ever done for the documentary. Go check out The Inn.
Yeah, okay. On Amazon.
On Amazon for 99 cents, maybe $1.99. I don't know. But what's up? What's up, Bot?
No, I was just saying we should. It's a great story. I think it really stuck out, and it's like a great, heartwarming story. Like Hulu, Netflix, they would definitely pick it up.
Dude, like a story of a dude that was making
the salad.
salads. Started a fax machine, food
Fax
delivery
machine, food.
system.
Yeah.
It's,
And bottom, yeah.
It could be a miniseries.
I mean, just like some of the stuff it's bad form in Asian culture to talk about your money, but some of the stories are crazy.
Oh yeah. I can only imagine. We got to get on top of that. All right. See what happens. This is why we do these podcasts.
But I think the original owner was a movie producer called Bob Mandler in the 80s, and he created the restaurant with kind of one of the first female Chinese pioneer chefs, Madame Wong.
Ooh.
And that's how like Chin Chin came together.
What a cool little contract, dude.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm not, I've been doing bicoastal for over a year and a half. I don't love it, but
it's tough. It's tough. I mean,
but that's
especially
actually
with
how I
your
make my
kids,
living.
right?
I don't make my living running the restaurant. I make my living doing these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have the one restaurant you're happy in, but you'll take the consulting gigs.
Always,
right?
yeah.
So those are fun. What else, man? Like, are you been traveling? Like, I know you. Other than where do you draw inspiration from for everything? Like, do you like to travel and go immerse yourself in different places, or you kind of more like into books, or you just do stuff, or
most of my fun, you as a parent is the time we spend with our kids, right?
Yes.
And that's kind of like where I'm at right now. Is like I want to be happy at work. I want to work. I want to continue to work hard.
Yeah.
I need to continue to build my brand.
Yeah.
But I also want to be able to carve enough time to take my kids to gymnastics and try to do as many activities as I can with him. And that's, you know, where I really get a lot of my joy these days. My wife's birthday was Monday, May 6th.
Yeah, happy birthday.
And, and then pre-restaurant life, I was a musician.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, working in restaurants was easy for that.
Yeah. Oh, you tell us a little bit about that. You can't just skip over that. This is why we do the long form podcast.
Yeah, long form podcast.
Yeah, we want to hear all the nitty gritty. So wait, you were a musician. That's the thing I was going to ask you, because it didn't seem like you had any formal training. You're self-trained. You were in front of house, went to the back of the house on a whim.
Yep.
Right. And then you opened this unbelievable, really cool, ahead of its time ramen shop, first ever district. That super launched you, right?
Yep.
And then you just started to build and build and build and build. But like, so did you want to be? Is it like you wanted to be a rock star? Or?
Creatively, I wanted to be like a cool indie pop guy for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know, I played piano, I played keyboards. I had a band in high school. I was in a band in high school, like all through high school, freshman year through senior year, even into like freshman year of college, called Temporary Basement, and we were kind of like a all Asian Weezer kind of band.
Okay.
And our big thing was we were on some compilation that Weezer put together, like in that era of like their favorite bands.
Yeah.
But that was about as good as that got.
Yeah.
And then in college, I started a band with my roommate, who was a drummer, who was also one of my best friends since 6th grade. So we like played music growing up together. We ended up rooming in college together. We started this band together. And that band was called Pash, and it was kind of like a female-fronted indie pop band.
Yeah.
And we did that for 8 or 9 years. Put out 2 albums on a female offshoot of Discord Records called Exotic Fever.
Where can you find these albums?
I think at the time we were like the only Pash on Spotify, but now there's like 100 because we haven't been in band forever.
Yeah.
But I think you can still order it off the Discord.
I think we got to order some of these albums and
probably
and
for 99 cents on Amazon.
We could. I was gonna say you could put it on the movie soundtrack.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Just, buy the rights to that too.
One track mind over there.
Yeah. Let me sell you the song rights. And we did that for a long time. We toured all over the country. We actually
so this is like a real thing, dude.
Yeah.
Like you were there. You were doing it.
We were doing it, and before I decided to be a chef full time, we did a huge tour with a band from Montreal called Stars.
Okay.
And they were a part of this music scene of all these really great Canadian stuff like Broken Social Scene. And it was a big tour. And we were like, if we don't get signed by a bigger label by the end of this tour, we were going to call it quits. And I had already taken the job for Sticky Rice in DC. I was already kind of transitioning into more of a professional culinary career. And so we didn't get signed, and that's how I kind of ended up in DC permanently.
Wow.
But I played like...
So if you would have been signed, we would have never had all these delicious restaurants that you're
Or maybe, probably not. And I probably would have been like dead from drugs.
Yeah, dead from drugs, possibly invested in a few restaurants.
But we were playing 100 plus shows a year. I mean, it was like
wow, that was
a thing.
That's
a
big
lot
thing.
of shows.
So how was that life? Like, is that why it was drug filled, rock and roll kind of thing? Like,
no, I mean, like our band was definitely not like that. Like Meredith, who was the singer, she didn't even drink. She was super square. The bass player was like just a pretty classic stoner. The drummer was super Christian, and would like pray every night before bed. But the drummer was, he liked to throw down, but only beer.
Did any of them go on to do anything in music, or?
Mayor works for I forgot what that. It's some big company that puts on all the big music festivals.
Oh, Live Nation.
Yeah, I think Live Nation or
somebody like that. Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
All right.
And then Joe, our kind of who was our second drummer, has been working for me since the band broke up. So he managed Toki. Now we're partners in a lot of business, and
he stays for like front of house, or he's culinary, or
front of the house.
Oh, front of house, drumming it up.
And he still plays. He has a local band called Garbage Masher.
Oh, really? What do they play?
They play covers of old Nintendo songs. That's it. Instrumentals. Just like old video games.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. That's just like joy in life.
So do you do it? You still kind of play?
I still don't play, but for my I don't play anymore. It's like kind of made that switch creatively, and I think it's like two different brains and almost like two different lives for me. There's like a whole group of people that know me from my music life, and then everyone from the culinary life, I guess.
Yeah.
But for the kids, which was one of the last fun things we did, I hit up an old friend who we knew from the music days, and he's a producer now. And we went and recorded a birthday song for my wife with the kids, just me and the kids. And we did like a cool little house beat and we recorded the kids singing happy birthday over it and playing different instruments. And
that's so cool.
It was really fun. And it was like my daughter acted bored like she always does because she's the oldest. And then if her brothers are having any fun, she hates it. And then the two, like my middle son, it was like a whole new side of him that I had never seen before. It was like something really clicked, and I was like, oh, he's actually like...
Oh, so you got maybe a little musician.
And he was like, everything was really natural for him, and he's, he was on key. I was like, oh, this is a really cool discovery. Yeah.
Okay. American Idol, here we go.
That'd be nice.
Get him.
Just not The Voice, because no one's ever gotten famous from The Voice.
Yeah, no one's gotten famous from The Voice. That show's strictly for the judges.
But it was a better show.
It's a good show.
But no one makes it.
I watched that with my wife.
Yeah, that was like almost like our first. I think your wife and we both kind of met our partners around the same time.
Yeah.
So that era of The Voice, which is probably when you were watching it, was so good.
So good.
Who were the judges that year? That time period.
I remember it was Blake, Christina.
Yeah.
Those are the originals.
Yeah, kind of the original.
The
People
OGs.
are obsessed with the Masked Singer. What's it called? The one with like.
Oh, the kids love The Masked Singer.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
They dress like furries.
I'm the worst at music. Yeah. My wife is actually really good in the music department. I listen to anything she just puts on. Like I don't know any names of bands.
Yeah.
Like I can play anything if you ask me. I can't hold a beat.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating. It's super frustrating.
Yeah, you probably know all the old Last Call songs like Sweet Caroline and all that stuff, though.
Yeah, probably, but maybe not even, to be honest with you. Yeah,
you're like, what is it?
Maybe
I'm
not
from
even.
Canada.
It's embarrassing. She's embarrassed of me and my music knowledge. It's kind of funny. It's a thing.
Yeah.
But listen, we all have our own thing, right?
Yeah.
So kid time is important these days. What are you you coaching your kids? Like, are you doing anything? Like, how's being a dad in this industry?
It's tough because the wives always hold it down.
Oh, Jason, make sure you get those nice and hot this time. Don't embarrass me.
I'm totally fine with cool pieces. But, dads always get all the glory, and the moms do all the hard work.
Yeah.
So that's pretty classic.
This is true. Yeah. Is it really true though? Is that really true?
No, I mean, I think so.
Be careful what we say here.
We're always let's go do this and do that, and we disrupt everyone's ecosystem.
We do.
We're only around.
We are. We're just big fucking disruptors out there. That's all we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really true.
But yeah, hobbies. I'm still. I'm in a pretty good place. So.
Yeah. Do you have any product lines out there? Or do you mess around with any of that stuff?
We did a lot with our Whole Foods time.
Oh yeah.
And we were selling dumplings in the fridges.
Yeah.
We had sauces on the shelves. I had a coffee company at the time because we were making our own coffee for the restaurants.
Yeah.
Those were on the shelves too.
Did you enjoy that Whole Foods deal? Like, was it?
Yeah. I loved the team at Whole Foods.
Yeah.
There was a guy named Jesse and a couple other people that were just awesome.
Yeah.
And that's really how I do a lot of my business. It's just like getting really connected with like different people and building these great relationships. And sometimes they'll just be like, you really should try this. And then I'm like, oh, I really trust you. And that was a lot with like Whole Foods was like, yeah, you should just kind of like fully integrate here in the shop. Because before the shops there kind of worked as their own internal ecosystem. So it's like you could have a stall there and then you could direct people to buy the sauce,
Yeah.
And that was really, really cool being a part of that. But, like this iced tea is that I'm drinking that you made is delicious.
Oh, thank you.
This is just like this is a really tough market to get into.
Oh, big time.
And it's a completely different business.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's a whole other animal.
Yeah, and I don't think I ever, because like I don't think I ever got excited enough about it.
Yeah. I hear that.
And I think Asian stuff is really hard because before 10 years ago, right? There just wasn't as much people doing Asian co-packing product.
Yeah.
But I think now there's
well, that whole chili crunch thing.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that whole chili crunch dilemma?
What
do you think?
It's definitely bad optics, right?
Do you know David Chang? Do you?
We've met a couple times,
Yeah.
and he's been nice.
Yeah.
It's definitely bad optics. As you know, they do have a responsibility to enforce the trademark that they purchased from the original people that had the trademark.
Yeah.
Or it's.
I actually didn't know that. So since they have the trademark, they are
So
responsible to enforce it.
There's an original company.
Yeah.
I think it's actually called like something Chili Crunch, and they owned the trademark for the Chili Crunch. They actually originally sued Momofuku because they had successfully enforced it once against Trader Joe's, the original owners.
Yeah.
And then they were doing it against Momofuku, and then Momofuku was like, "How about we just buy it off of you?"
Yeah.
And so she ended up selling it to them. But for your actual trademark,
How much do you think that went for?
a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh
I mean, it was
gosh.
VC money, right?
Yeah.
It had to be.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, maybe not. Who
Yeah.
knows, right? But I mean, it was enough for them to sue them to know that it was worth something, right?
Right.
So they bought it from them, and then for your trademark or anything that you have intellectual rights to, like if you don't enforce its authority, then it's basically worthless, right?
Yeah.
So there's some sense of obligation for them to actually like keep the trademark active, but
You think he just got caught up in it? Lawyers got in the way or
it's
something
just
like that.
I don't know how much control he has. It's just
yeah.
But also, it's
it
just
sucks for that to happen, though.
It sucks because
you know?
a lot of people really look up to him, right?
Totally.
And so like
Yeah.
nothing would be worse than to get like a legal cease and desist from someone that you look up to that you may have not even ever met, and you look up to what they do. You've probably listened to their podcast. You probably
You're a fan. You're a
yeah,
fan.
and then you're like, what the?
You're like,
fuck
what
is
are you
that?
doing? Yeah. I don't think he had. I don't know I don't know anything about it, to be honest. So it's good to hear it from you. I just was reading the headlines, but my first gut instinct was like, I don't think he had too much to do with this.
You want to give the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
But also, if you sometimes you don't have a choice when you get so big.
Yeah.
You're just like, this
Yeah.
is what we're doing. You're like,
Have you had some adversity in the press? Like how have you dealt with it? Like has it been smooth sailing?
Oh no, it's never been smooth sailing. I've been sued. I've been arrested.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of.
You carried on the rock and roll part of your music.
Well, it's just some things,
shit.
life happens, right?
Listen,
Yeah.
it does happen. But it's how you deal with them and how you bounce back, my friend.
I'm very lucky that I have an amazing life partner.
Yes. Keep you
who-
grounded, support.
And who also just knows like what my intentions are, right?
Yeah.
And not every decision has been perfect. To be fair, I'm not always a great business partner to my partners who also I would think weren't good business partners either, but I'm not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just kind of keep growing from that.
Yeah, you gotta keep growing. I mean, like, listen, I was almost canceled in DC. I don't know if you remember, but like for my eviction or something like that. It wasn't even my eviction.
I can't even remember.
Yeah. Oh my God, they wrote a super nasty article about me. I forget, it was one of the food writers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably still around.
He'll go unnamed, but you know who you are. You know. But yeah, so basically, almost canceled me for not paying my rent or something like that.
Yeah,
At a
sometimes you just
military
can't.
family. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't. First of all, pay my rent, but it was most of my roommates that couldn't pay the rent.
Yeah.
But I got all the slack for it. So I read in your bio, 3-time James Beard
Yep.
nominee. Does that mean you never?
I never won. I peaked early in my career.
Yeah.
I made it to the finals for Toki Underground.
Yeah.
And that one's still a little bitter to me because like there were some other really great candidates, and the person that won that year, the restaurant wasn't even open.
Yeah.
I think it was closed for a fire.
Yeah.
And I was like, that kind of
Yeah,
sucks.
but how do you nominate you 3 times and don't give you one? I've always had my own things with the James Beard.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan, but
I don't know. I mean, do I think about the things that we've created in the lexicon of DC food as iconic? Definitely. I think Toki and Maketto are completely unique restaurants that you couldn't find anywhere in the United States.
Totally.
And Maketto, probably that statement still stands.
Yeah. Tell people why though. Why for those who don't know Maketto, tell them. And if you're coming to DC, you definitely have to visit and come check it out. But why do you feel like you're pushing? I mean, I know I've been there. So
Yeah.
but
by the time we opened in 2015, and we were probably the first real mixed use concept, I would say, outside of like a Nordstrom cafe.
Yep. Yeah.
But
100%.
Yeah. But it was a restaurant inspired by a lot of stuff that we saw in Taipei and Cambodia. Taipei, where I'm from, Cambodia, where my wife and her family are from, and where you would get these larger spaces and just kind of do all these really unique things in them. And we had a really nice menswear store.
Yeah.
We still have an excellent coffee breakfast program. And then we were serving food all day of like Taiwanese, Cambodian inspired dishes.
Yeah.
And we designed a place that would stand the test of time in terms of aesthetics. And I would still say that is the case.
Definitely so.
And at the time, there was really nobody doing that. Now you have brands like Kith doing ice cream shops, and you have, Ame de Leon doing these cool coffee shops. Even Ralph Lauren has these kind of like little cafes. And we were definitely like the first. And I remember all these people, like even from Manir, who ended up opening kind of something similar in Houston. Just all these people from that time period coming and checking out what we were doing.
Oh, dude, I remember hearing about it and coming and doing I think I texted you or something like that to go surfing. You're like, it's the wrong. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
No, at that time I wasn't even doing the river surfing, but I remember it was blowing my mind.
Yeah.
Actually, well, first of all, the fact that you had done your Toki thing, which was on A Street, which was not developed at all.
Yeah.
Right. For those who don't know, H Street was just, there's nothing there. And then you open this crazy place, Maketto, across the street, and you had a sneaker shop, basically retail shop in the front. You walk through it, you get it. Last time I went to dinner there, I walked out with a pair of shoes. And I think I wore, like, did you have this brand called Wolf or something like that? Or Wolf?
Woodwood.
Was it Woodwood?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think I had like a shirt or something.
Would have been Woodwood, yeah.
Woodwood, yeah, that's what it was. I still have it too. Oh, here comes our pizza.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's just iced tea. You like it? You like the...
yeah, it's really nice. This dragon tea is just sweet enough.
This is it. We only swim with agave.
I like it.
All right, so what pizza do you... So, what did I make? So, well, I went... So, you know how I started my morning today?
Yeah.
So, I dropped my kid off at school.
Yep.
And sorry, we're going to have to zap that off this this podcast. Make a note. I don't know. I don't want people knowing where my kid goes to school. All right, make a note.
You got to hit the drums. So
make a
mark it.
Yeah.
Mark it.
Yeah, I'm going to mark that time. And then, so I went to Eden Center this morning.
Nice.
That's, I enjoy, my route because I get to go there. I get a Vietnamese coffee.
I wish things were open earlier there.
So do I.
Because
well, you know what? There's one or two places that open up at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And so if you go into the mall area, and for those who don't understand, Eden Center is like outside in Virginia. It's like a little piece of Vietnam. The country fell in the middle of Virginia.
Yep.
And there's probably like 50 different stalls of restaurants there. There's a huge supermarket that's Vietnamese driven, Asian driven, and all these different places. My dream's to open a place there, by the way. I've been wanting to take a little miniature stall inside the mall and there's a Thai restaurant, by the way, there. I don't know if you tried.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, so
there used to be like a Korean beef bone shop next to it that was very good.
Yeah.
Gone
now. Oh, I remember that
and
actually.
they had the big vat of broth.
The huge thing.
Oh, it was
right?
excellent.
And you walk by the window and see it just boiling. Yeah,
it was excellent.
What do you think? Why didn't you open a restaurant? Did you ever think of opening a place in there?
It is,
Cross your mind.
The landlord doesn't have a good reputation.
Oh, he doesn't.
Yeah, and they're like some.
It's the mob. Is it probably the mob?
Kind of like out in Florida, and fortunately they don't have great facilities there.
Yeah.
Because they're just not treated well because they're all immigrants.
Yeah.
But no, I've wanted to. But a couple of people I know who've had families have had businesses there. There's a guy that works for me from Kwong. He used to have a restaurant there, and a lot of that is just like the landlord can be super challenging.
Yeah, yeah. A space there, dude. I would do like everything induction, maybe, or I don't know. Like it'd be fun to do a spot there.
Yeah, for sure. But then you're taking space from others.
Okay, so how do you feel about that? Is this cultural appropriation thing?
It's not cultural.
No. Okay. Well, remember Stephanie Izzer got a little trouble with calling something.
I don't think so, because actually it would take someone like us to open spaces in there.
Yeah.
To actually push for meaningful change and then be a good representation for the county.
Yeah.
In terms of like advocating for other people. So I think if you went there and opened a space and you took on some of that for others, then you would be a great part of the experience there.
Well,
if you just went there and like fucking cashed in and
and just like did whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
then
You'd
you-
never be able to do that there though. You'd have to like really lean into the community there to get their support and their blessing, to be honest with you. So when, before I moved to DC, I was running a ton of Vietnamese restaurants in New York City.
Yeah.
Right. I was working for this guy, Michael Bao Hun. I don't know if you remember him. Crazy architect chef is what they call him. And I traveled all throughout Vietnam with this guy for years.
Yeah.
And
That's your secret favorite food.
It's my secret favorite food.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was some of my favorite restaurants I've opened up were those in New York, with him. And this guy was just a wild guy. He just taught me everything about the culture. But when we first moved to here, he came and met me and took me to Eden Center, and I was blown away.
Yeah.
They have like these small little clubs, like Vietnamese clubs where they do karaoke there.
People still smoke inside there.
Smoke inside there, 100%. You could have like a whole meal at the bar.
Yep. And everyone's got their little specialty.
Yeah. So you know what I did today? I was like,
You made me a Southeast Asian inspired pizza.
yeah.
Nice. Well, because he was like, "What kind of pizza you want?" I was like, "Just tell him to make whatever." So I see some.
I was like, the menu. We have 17 different pizzas at We the Pizza, right? Shout out to We the Pizza. Thank you.
We love We
for
the Pizza. I love
sponsoring
your sister.
this. Yeah, she's the best. So this is Chinese sausage. You got some spring rolls. We have
Pickle carrot daikon.
Yeah, pickle carrot daikon, and then we had some fried shallots.
And some basil.
Yeah,
Thai basil.
Yeah, some Thai basil in there.
This looks fun. I love seeing the
and
big
there's
chunks of spring roll in it.
Oh yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's actually it's a nuoc cham tomato sauce.
Very cool.
So just in case you hate it, I brought just a pepperoni pizza.
No, I'm
as
gonna
well.
love this.
Go ahead, dig in.
Yeah.
Get his first bite. You gotta tell me. You gotta rate my pizza from 1 to 10. What?
The plates.
Oh yeah, this plate right there. Thank you. Yeah, rate my pizza from 1 to 10. 1 bite. The David Bruno thing. Ooh, nice and hot. Jay, you got it nice and hot.
The Chinese sausage is nice.
Yeah. That's like Asian pepperoni, I guess. Yeah.
My pizza time with Ann Pizza.
Tell me. I want to hear all about that, actually, man.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, Michael Astoria is not involved anymore. Like, also,
I don't think so. Yeah.
Kind of crazy what happened there.
I don't know much of that story.
Yeah.
I left during COVID. Well, technically, I got laid off during COVID.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Michael and I go way back, and even my history with Ann Pizza goes way.
Oh, you do go way back with him? I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the first Ann Pizza, as you know, it was on H Street Northeast. So at the time, everyone that was doing anything on H Street was kind of like, would meet with me or talk to me or whatever. And they opened right next to the original Taylor, which was a big sandwich shop here a while ago. And I actually knew those guys really well and actually hand painted the original Taylor gourmet sign for them.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And then, so I knew Michael and the other original founder, Steve, pretty well. And then, this was nice.
This is actually pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty surprised. I was making it. I was like, I don't know, but
I just need a couple chilies and then we're in.
I got some spice, I think, from the nuoc cham. That must have been.
Good. I can't even do spicy anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah. Just stomach.
Just old. Yeah.
Same thing here.
The okay, so Ann Pizza, they were looking for. They reached out to me. At the time, they didn't really have anyone doing any creative culinary for them, and our company was so big. We had like in-house graphic designers. We had in-house art direction, and they had originally reached out to us just to do a couple of like digital campaigns for them. And then I had pitched. I was like, "What do when are you going to change the pizzas up or something like that?" And so they started kind of powwowing on it. And so I kind of joined as like a creative culinary director. At the time, I had been trying to buy a house forever as someone that was self-employed, which is like so impossible sometimes.
The most impossible thing to do.
Yeah. And so they were willing to make me an employee, a W-2 employee.
Yeah.
So I joined Ann Pizza as an actual employee. And that was how we were able to get approved to purchase our first house, because it was the first time in over a decade I had a W-2. I hadn't had a W-2 since like high school.
Yeah.
So I worked for them, and at the time they were trying to raise a lot of money to do a big expansion, and the only way they felt like that would be successful, is if they could get a better bottom line out of their New York stores. So I don't think, as you know, someone that grows big brands, like, you know, if you want to get to a certain level, you have to be successful in New York City.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's
Definitely.
You know, and that's when you start raising tens of millions instead of like a couple million at a time.
Yeah.
And so I basically was living in the New York market, kind of revamping the entire New York market with that team.
Yeah.
Doing creative marketing, doing new pizzas, changing their pizza operations, redoing, kind of launching their Wall Street location.
Yeah.
And then kind of changed. By the time I left, I had kind of changed their what their current line of signature pizzas are. That's when we switched tomato sauces. That's when we switched to cup and char pepperoni.
Yeah.
They had a great lady that worked for them, Bridget, who did all the kind of logistics for the company. She was amazing.
Yeah.
And her and I worked tandem in tandem. And then right before I finally left, I was like, you need a full-time R&D chef. So we hired that guy. And then during COVID, I was like, lay me off and keep him on.
Yeah. So you were done with him.
I was done, yeah. But it was a great experience, and people were like, what the fuck are you doing working for a fast casual pizza company?
Yeah.
But I learned...
Actually, I was a little hurt. I was like, oh, my God.
You never asked. I would have said yes.
I was like, I'm a little hurt here.
Yeah.
You know?
But I learned I learned a lot about QSRs, and it was really great to test my knowledge, and everything I know is about owning and operating restaurants in D.C., but I take what I knew and do it in New York City and see it be successful was like a really great career moment for me. We really turned those stores around. We really made them profitable. And
how were you received in New York as you know, a different style of a pizza joint amongst pizza joint?
I think if you're anywhere in the world, if you're the right past, especially I guess in concept, if you're the right price point, and really it's just customer service and consistency.
Yeah.
I don't think anything needs to be the best ever.
Yeah.
But if you have great customer service and it's the same every time you go there, you have a brand.
Yeah. That's 70% of the restaurants. I don't understand.
Yeah. And like
you know, the Bennigans of the world.
Well, it's just even where we take our kids, it's like,
totally.
I know exactly what I'm going to get. I don't love it, but the kids love it, and the service is great, and I'll go a million times.
It's convenience, right? So like I'm busy. I'm starting up, expanding We the Pizza and doing some more master franchising, you know, and we're looking at the state of Virginia now to like, we've never done like a huge effort in franchising. Mm-hmm. We've mom and pop most of our shops, right? So, you know, I think there's like a good enough like pizza community out there where people are just selling for Papa John's and Domino's and Pizza Hut because it's super convenient. Mm-hmm. So the idea is like, let's go to these markets and do something just a little bit more delicious and try to have that same consistency and the delivery times and that. So it's going to be a new endeavor we're taking on right now.
Let me know if you need any
consulting.
Yeah.
I think, you know, you watch out what you ask for. I might be calling you. So New York was a good thing.
I liked it.
Yeah.
You know,
you eat at any restaurants you love over there?
Uncle Boone's was my favorite.
Uncle Boone's? I've never been.
It was a kind of like Thai kind of diner. Well, I think it's now called Thai Diner, actually. But before it was kind of this like really fun kind of Thai food experience, and the decor was really cool. I think they had maybe a Michelin star bib or something. It was in Chelsea, and it was super delicious, and it was open really late. They had a green curry escargot. That was just...
Green curry escargot. That sounds delicious.
Crazy good.
Really?
And
was
then,
it just in like... just
it was like
just
in the shells.
Sitting in the broth. Oh, in the shells.
Yeah,
It's still in the shells.
I think so, yeah. No, I don't know. But it was delicious.
Yeah.
We get that all the time. And they had like... It's just a great New York restaurant where the kitchen's really tiny.
Yeah.
It's always packed, and you could go late. But nothing's open late anymore in New York.
No.
But I loved Uncle Boone's. And then around the corner, they had... another place that was like a classic meat and three spot that was really cute. I think it was called Mr. Donahue's.
Oh, yeah?
That I really liked. My wife's favorite pizza in New York is Mortarino's.
I haven't been there either.
Yeah, only because they have like a pizza where they put raw Thai chili on it, which a lot of people don't do.
I can't do that.
Yeah, so that's like her thing.
She can eat some raw Thai chilies?
Here's a great story for you. Ready?
Yeah.
I don't know how much time we have.
We got plenty of time.
All right. We through a friend, my friend, I see him always on his Instagram traveling and eating at Noma, whether it's Noma Copenhagen, Noma Japan, Noma Mexico, Noma in your backyard. He's there. So I sent him a joke, and I was like, hey man, let me join you next time. Because like no one's really gonna like.
Yeah.
But anyways, he was like, oh, I have a reservation if you want to come. This is the date, and just book your tickets and book your flight and let me know. And this was like way in advance. So and then later in a couple months, they were announcing they were closing at the end of the year. So we were like, all right, well, we probably should go, right?
Yeah.
It seems really cool. They've done a lot, and so we booked the ticket. We go, and my wife's Cambodian American, and she's always very well prepared for Europe at this point, where it's like we bring hot sauce or chilies or just.
Oh, she brings stuff with her?
Yeah, just because like after a couple of days of kind of like classic European food, she's like, I need some flavor. I need something spicy.
Yeah.
Whether we're bringing like a couple of our own instant noodles or whatever, right?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
And like after a couple of days, we'll start kind of hunting kind of like some of the Asian diaspora in these places. But even like because I love like traditional European food.
Oh, yeah.
And so she'll entertain me because she knows that's what I like. But then she'll like bring her own.
What kind of stuff?
I love butter. I love bread. I love cheese.
Oh, so you like all that good stuff.
Yeah, I love the classics, And I was really excited about Copenhagen because I love pickled fish and all that Scandinavian stuff. So we go, and we packed vacuum sealed Thai chilies. We vacuum sealed fried garlic. She was kind of had it in her purse the whole time, and we were kind of like bringing it to all the restaurants that we went to. And we're at Noma, and we're telling Tate about that. And Tate's like, do you have the chilies on you now? And she's like, yeah, of course. And she's like, just because I'm at Noma doesn't mean like if I want a Thai chili, I'm gonna have one, right? And then because Tate's so well in the Noma kind of restaurant scene, Chef Renee actually came to the table to talk to us. And when we walked in, everyone was like, Tate, oh my God, welcome back. Yeah, and they're like, we have your favorite table. Like, it was like, who the fuck are you? Like, I just know you as like Dwayne's brother.
Yeah, exactly. Dwayne's brother's eating all over the Nomas.
Yeah. And then Tate tells Renee, and he's like, she brought chilies to dinner. And Renee's like, huh? Because like, you did what? She was like, yeah, she brought Thai chili. Tells a story about we're Asian, we need spicy food. Yeah. Renee's like, do you have the chilies on you? And he's talking to my wife, and she's not a big into tasting menus or food and stuff like that. She's like, yeah, of course. So she like takes the Thai chili out of her like really nice dress that she's wearing.
I love it. We got to bring your wife in here at the end.
And then Renee's like literally standing at the table. I just kind of like. No one's ever probably no one's ever brought their own personal eating condiment eat at Noma, right?
Yeah.
So he's just holding this chili and just kind of like perplexed, like staring at this Thai chili that we smuggled into the country. And then he just kind of walks away.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, they started pairing like different hot sauces that they had in the kitchen from like family meal or from their test kitchen or whatever.
Yeah.
And they started bringing her different hot sauces with each course.
Oh.
And it was just really kind of like, that's pretty awesome, right?
That was a great story. Yeah.
But it's amazing because, the front of the house, they're like machines, right?
Yeah.
They do the same thing every day.
Totally,
it's
like
the
robots.
Same routine.
Yeah,
they drop at the same time. Like it's all completely rehearsed.
Calculated. Orchestra.
And every course, you could just see them panicking because they didn't know what to do about the condiments. That were just sitting on the table.
They're like,
do we take it? Do we touch it? And they would go back and they would talk to Chef, and Chef's like, no, leave it.
Yeah.
She needs it.
Yeah, she needs it.
And they're all like, we don't know what to do. And then, later in the night, we had drinks with a couple of the cooks there that Tate knew, of course.
Yeah,
kind of like.
Tate's the guy.
Tate's the guy.
Yeah, Tate, could you take me to Noma next time?
Yeah, and they were saying like Renee was literally going through like pantries, just like pulling stuff out, and it was like such a disruption.
Yeah.
This one Thai chili.
This little one Thai.
Yeah.
So did he do anything with the chili too, or did he?
He kept it, and he was really nice, and
yeah,
I think it was just like a fun night there.
I love it.
We're eating all like the family meal hot sauces.
What else were you doing? And how many days did you have it down there? Did you get to the pickled fish and?
We did 4 or 5 days, and it's a pretty amazing culture there. Like,
What's your favorite eating culture?
I love, and where we've traveled, I think, for fun, Paris is great.
Paris is
in
great.
Europe. I'm just strictly talking about Europe.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed Budapest.
Budapest?
Yeah.
Budapest.
Budapest, yeah.
Budapest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Europe too, man. So, I don't know, I don't know if you know, but I spent
I loved
a few
Montreal.
years training there. Oh, yeah, Montreal's great.
Yeah.
Montreal's great. Where did you go there?
My favorite place in Montreal was this little dive called Petite Patata.
Petite Patata?
Yeah, and it was like a little dive bar. It was like 10 seats, and it was just draft beers and sliders.
Oh.
And like I went,
That's the
when I
thing-
was working there, I went like every night.
Yeah, the thing about Montreal is like that's the food. Like there's like these iconic joints that are not fancy. Like there's a place called Walensky's, this old Jewish neighborhood that's it's literally just a salami sandwich and mustard and soda. And there's no seating. You go up, you order it. If you say no mustard, they charge you extra. Like that kind of joint,
I love places
no
like that.
mustard, like
You're an asshole.
get out of here. And they like literally tell you your last bite. They're like, okay, you could leave now, because there's only spot for like 9 people. But yeah, I mean those type of places, that's more my eating style these days. Is like I'm always searching wherever I go, and I like fancy eating. I like sitting down maybe every once in a while having a tasting. Not really though. I look for like these gritty spots where I feel like at home.
Yeah, I think the nice restaurants are just nice to have like a little breakaway with your partner.
Yeah.
And just enjoying them. I'm not even really paying attention to what we're eating.
Yeah.
And like if I want to do foodie stuff, like I'll go with like a chef friend or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So tell me, I mean, I love, your career has been amazing, but I also know you personally, and I know the good you do in the DMV and more. And, tell me a little bit like, what have you been doing? I know you did the Power of 10. I don't know if that's still going on. I'm sure people would love to hear about that. I know you've been involved with DC Central Kitchen at times, but why are you doing those type of things? And like, what do you love about it? And
Yeah, like so, obviously as chefs, we always are raising money for other people's organizations and things that are important to us. And then during COVID, pretty much like I think DC shut down on March 15th. And then by March 28th, we had launched this initiative called Power of 10 Initiative, where we were basically paying restaurants to make meals to send to people in need, right? And we raised maybe like 20,000 in 10 days or something through our network. And we were paying a neighborhood restaurant down from us called Cane, which was a Caribbean spot. And we were making meals for first responders at the time. Yeah. That was kind of like our start. And since then, and still active, our peak was probably 2020 to actually till last year. This year it's slowed down a bit because of donors, but I think we're almost like 400,000 meals, 1.5 million to small businesses, and all. At one point, we were doing it all across the United States because Capital One was one of our partners. Yeah, and then we were doing it all across the country, but in DC alone, it was like almost total like 60 small businesses we funded. Wow! And I would say for like the last year and a half, we kind of do it internally because we don't really raise a ton of money anymore. But we still deliver probably a couple hundred meals every week, mostly on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. To wards like 7 and 8.
these are happening among all these different kitchens?
No, just pretty much out of Maketto at this point.
Maketto. Yeah. Well, that's a lot of meals to put out of that one place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we mostly do bulk groceries and then like meals by request, but we've been partnered with Georgetown Pediatrics since 2020, and they have a food program there with like kind of like multi-generational families, so it'll be like grandmothers, moms, and lots of kids, and we'll be a group of almost like a group of 40 to 50 families every year, and we basically take care of groceries for them for a year. Wow. And we deliver every Tuesday.
I love that.
And it really helps kind of like, it's like fresh fruit, bread, eggs, cheese, vegetables, and like very consistent stuff, so like they always have stuff in their fridge, and then these areas that they're getting the groceries, there's just a lot. Food access is pretty terrible, as you know, in certain parts of DC.
It's horrible.
And I always,
Are there recipe cards with these boxes?
We
or
don't
not
really-
really, because it's just like vegetables, and it's like
we do the recipe cards, but like when you have 4 or 5 kids, you keep it as simple, right?
yeah.
When we first started, it was a lot of like, let's give them recipe cards and homework and blah blah blah.
Yeah. You're like, okay, people just want
They just
the
want the
box.
stuff. and they're good, right? And when we talk about food access, we're sitting here in DC Central Kitchen. You do a ton of food access work and food policy work, and people are always trying to quantify, like, okay, how much do meals cost? Like, how much should these programs be? Like, what is the value in this? And I always try to preach like the value in everything that we're doing, and even the work here in DC Central Kitchen, is that we're creating time. And time has no value. So the amount of time that you can give back to a family where they're not chasing around the city trying to find groceries or, dealing with any of their food access situation, like that time is worth so much.
I love that you bring that up, because that is like one of the largest issues with food access. Is the time to get the groceries, the time to cook, the availability of a bus or car or however.
One bag at a time.
One bag at a time. People don't really think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that you bring that up.
And so that's really when I'm pitching to people, is like, I'm like, imagine you have the same family situation that you have, but you can only take a bus.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how many times would you have to take a bus to feed your family of 3 or 4 every week?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so one of the nice things during COVID was a lot of the EBTs and stuff finally went digital, where you could order your groceries. You could use EBT and have the groceries sent to your house, but that didn't really exist pre-COVID, and it only happened because of COVID, right?
Yeah.
And so I think, like, that's always my big pitch of food access, is like, how much time does this program, like your financial, support of this program, it's not about how many meals you're getting, but how much time you're giving back to
the families. I love it.
Yeah.
Dude, that is so good. What else is going on in that world for you? Anything else?
It's been a tough year, raising money for us specifically.
It's such a downward time to raise money right now.
And but we still have kept the program going at our own financial loss. So if you want to donate, just go to Power of 10 Initiative.
Guys, donate to Power of 10. Are you do you apply for? Listen, we got Fink here formerly from the mayor's office. How are we getting some grants for this Power of 10 program?
I don't want to say anything about the mayor's
definitely.
office.
Food access and food deserts are a major
You're going to have to cut that out.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying food access and food deserts are a major problem in DC.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a need for more programs to support that.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Huge.
Or they could just support the ones that are already doing the work.
That's right.
Sorry.
That's right.
Or they can open
Come on.
stores east of the river too.
They could do that.
We're gonna have Mayor Bowser on this podcast at some point. We're gonna dig into her. Listen, there's ups and downs to everyone's.
Yeah, there's ups and downs.
Tenure, as we know, as chefs.
Yeah,
so
it's never easy.
it's never easy.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Chef Erik, where do you like to eat in DC? I know it's a generic question, but what are your top 3 restaurants?
Other than We the Pizza, good stuff, and
Yeah.
Santa Rosa. I was just kidding.
I will have to say that.
Don't say it.
I will say that We the Pizza did Power of 10.
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
That's right.
And
Michelin.
and your sister's amazing, and she's helped even when we didn't have funds.
Yes.
And I'm always super grateful for that.
Yeah.
And they always handle Teacher Appreciation Week for my kids' school.
That's right.
So
We just had that today.
It's this whole month.
School.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's this whole month. Okay.
Yeah.
They get a whole month now. They should.
Yeah.
They should.
But no, We the Pizza was one of our. We wrote grants to you guys.
Yeah.
You guys.
Do you cook at home, or do you go out a lot, or do you do a little bit of both? But are there some of your favorite little spots here?
My schedule is really obnoxious, right? So I work Tuesday through Saturday, pretty much open. I take the kids to school.
Yeah.
Then I come back, I take a quick nap, and then I work for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Unless I'm out of town.
Yeah.
And then out of town, I do a lot of solo eating or maybe catching up with old friends. And that's probably where I try most of my new restaurants is LA, because I'm just not with the kids.
Yeah.
I actually have a restaurant opening today.
What?
Yeah.
Breaking. Does everybody know about this?
No, really, because I'm really like I'm just a small partner.
Okay.
But I invested in a Peter Chang restaurant that's opening in I guess what do they call the new Clarendon?
Oh, the new Clarendon area.
National Landing.
National Landing.
Yes.
It's opening in National Landing today.
Beautiful.
And it's very weird because it was like they've asked me to do nothing.
Yeah.
I've literally done nothing.
Nothing.
And then they texted me and they're like, openings in 2 days. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
This is a
so
really
you go,
weird
are you
feeling.
going? So you're going?
Yeah, I'm going to go and check out.
So you're an investor.
I'm an investor,
Oh,
yeah.
Look at that.
You're on the other side of things now.
I'm on the other side, yeah.
Yeah. So what's their concept? Like,
It's a knee house. So they had a knee house in Baltimore.
Yeah.
But they've kind of retooled that a bunch. And this new one is like kind of like a lot of what they do with a little bit more twist, but almost kind of like all small plate dim sum style.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
like large plates.
well, big shout out to Clarendon for getting a new spot.
Yeah, a Peter Chang restaurant.
A Peter Chang restaurant.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So I think it'll be. They're one of the most interesting restaurant owners and operators I've ever met because I'll walk into a Peter Chang restaurant and I'm like, where the fuck do you get your customers from? This whole place is full of Asians.
Yeah.
That are like 20 to 30.
Yeah.
They're all in pajamas, but all wearing like Balenciaga shoes.
Totally.
And I'm like, who are these people? And then they're just like, yeah, it's just a lot of the foreign exchange students.
Yeah.
And they're like one of the few kind of like their
They got
restaurant
those buku
actually.
bucks.
Well, their restaurant actually like contextually is like what is happening in Chinese food
Yeah.
overseas, right? Here, Chinese food in America is still very much like, we love Sichuan food. I can't believe there's a new Sichuan restaurant.
Yeah.
And there's just a very low understanding of like Chinese food in America, not just Asian American Chinese food, but just the breadth of Chinese food in general. And then like concepts like, what they're doing with Chinese food overseas is just way light years ahead of like what's available in this country. And
Well,
people
what's the
wouldn't even get
difference like specifically? Kind of like what would you see over there than you wouldn't see here?
Most things here, it's like it's going to be some version of like hybrid of Huning or Shanghainese food, based on the palate and a kind of like a core set of dishes, and then you have kind of the adventurous like northern China Sichuan style stuff that's popular because people love spicy.
Yeah.
But even then, like people's understanding of like the complexities of that are pretty basic.
Yeah.
And then, just regionally over there, they're really into like an accepting of like modern interpretations of Chinese food and culture. There's some very like kind of strict set rules, especially with particular dishes, but like the inventiveness is off the charts.
Yeah.
But here, like Chinese tasting menus, like that's not a thing, right? There's probably like 2 restaurants in the country.
Yeah.
And then there, like modern versions of that are everywhere.
I gotta get out there. I haven't been out there to do any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, apart from restaurants, I mean, are there?
Oh, here. But the question is, what do I like here? Yeah, sorry. So I'm going to Nihao tonight. I do love all the Peter Chang restaurants.
Yeah.
My kids, we like Mama Chang's, and they actually say his dumplings are better than mine, which is super harsh.
Mama Chang's.
But they are good. So we're going there. I love Bar Spiro.
Yeah.
Johnny Spiro's a good friend, and I think the Bar Spiro is a great, like, accessible version of his culinary creativity because he's so creative. But like, that's a place you can just go and enjoy and eat.
Yeah.
And then I like that food hall. Love Maketto. That's right next to it. It's very nice.
Oh, we should have him.
Yeah.
You should hook us up with him.
Yeah. I'll group text.
Yeah.
And all the little spots there are really, really nice.
Yeah. You don't see one of the things like, I may be completely wrong, but you don't seem like you be the guy that has, like, and maybe I'm wrong here, so I'm going to go on a limb. But like, are there other chefs in your mind that you like you look up to, or like you kind of like? I grew up in the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
I was, I was, doing everything in the business, right? I grew up, my mother was a foodie. She loved chefs. So it was kind of ingrained in me about like having like these figureheads of chefs, and most of them were French chefs, at the beginning. And then it, had evolution. So like, I could rattle you off like, I loved Alan Ducas's career. I liked
Yeah.
Daniel Boulou was a god to me, or things of that sort. Like, do you have those type of chefs? I just feel like you were a musician and you're a late starter.
Like,
So
I'm
it's
a
like,
late starter for sure.
yeah.
And you kind of learn about these icons, like especially me learning about different icons as I've progressed in my own career, and then getting to meet them has been like, super, super cool.
What was the coolest though? Who was the coolest that you met? You were like, oh fuck, yes. When you lost on Food Fight to Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah. I was meeting Jacques Pepin was super cool.
Oh, Jacques Pepin, that's a big one.
Martin Yan, that was amazing.
Yeah. Did you do a dinner with Jacques?
We did. It was the
foundation, the Jacques Pepin Foundation.
No, it was like that convention. They throw a convention center every year, and they do the James Beard stage. And you do a cooking demo.
Yeah.
I think my demo was like right before his 1 year.
He's a boss, dude. Like, you look at his fingers on his cooking videos. You ever look at his chef hands? It's like they're all crooked and they're just like,
he's a machine.
You just see them. I love watching the cooking videos when he's at home.
Yeah,
his like little house kitchen. You don't get that anymore. I mean, like, it's like you don't get that authentic
live cooking
vibe. Like what Julia Child did it really good. And there's a few others, but Jacques Pepin is like maybe one of the last holding that torch.
Yeah, and then live cooking TV shows on the comeback are still super enjoyable.
Yeah,
I loved watching the original Iron Chef growing up.
Oh yeah.
So Iron Chef America and Iron Chef Japan.
Yeah.
And so getting to meet some of those stars like Morimoto,
Japan was amazing with
the show was so good
with the subtitles.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And like the cooking was crazy.
I wish they would bring that back.
And the Chinese chef would always kill it.
Oh my God.
He was killing everybody.
They were so good. I did two things at Iron Chef. So one, I was like the sacrificial lamb. Yeah. So I was like the only Top Chef guy to get invited to be on the Iron Chef show.
Yeah.
So I was like debating in my mind. I was like, what is this about? Like,
they're going to crush you.
They're going to crush me. I was like, it's all Food Network stars and then me.
Yeah.
They're going to kill me. So I got kicked off like first episode, right? To Marcus Samuelson. There's like drama.
Yeah.
But, and so what happened? Oh yeah. So then I got kicked off and,
that was the next Iron Chef show, or was it the actual?
It was it was the next Iron Chef show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was I had done the battle. I battled Michael Simon, and it was pork was our secret ingredient.
Yo, Michael Simon is the beast, though.
Yeah, he is a beast.
He's the beast.
Yeah.
My favorite America episode is the Michael Simon versus John Fraser episode.
Oh yeah,
where they kick the sous chefs off.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was epic.
That's like iconic food TV that some people don't even know happened. Battle Cauliflower. That's what it was.
It was Battle Cauliflower, right?
We should get Michael Simon on here.
Oh, I'd love to get Michael Simon. I mean, it's he's
Cleveland.
Yeah, he's Cleveland. Maybe since we have a Cleveland co-producer come, we should get him here. He's great. I was his butcher at his opening up his first restaurant in New York City, which he closed pretty quickly to pursue a Food Network career.
Yeah.
But I was his butcher there, and that's kind of where I got to meet Jonathan. Who was this chef? He's a James Beard nominee as well.
Sawyer.
Yeah. Met Sawyer there. Brian as well. Group of good. Cleveland has a good like gritty scene.
I love
chefs. Yeah.
There's this Polish place I like there. It's like a classic, famous Polish restaurant. I think it's like cafeteria style scoop and serve.
Oh yeah.
It's like when you go to Cleveland, you have to go there. I can't remember what it was called. It was so good.
I did some work there for a little bit, but
yeah.
Well, anyways, I got kicked off of Iron Chef,
and
I was so pissed. They're like, hey, we'll fly you back wherever you want to go. I was like, oh, well, I want to go to fucking Hawaii. And they're like, really? I was like, yeah, I want to go to fucking Hawaii.
You said wherever.
Yeah, you said wherever, fly me to Hawaii. And so they flew me to Hawaii. And I actually had a friend, Chris Cools, which is a fantastic chef out there. I worked with him at Bouchon for Thomas back in the day. But I hadn't seen him in years because he had moved away. And so it was my first time going to Hawaii. And I've been going back to Hawaii every year
since.
Yeah.
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
See?
And I remember I got off the flight and I got to he had hooked me up with like this cool little hotel relay and chateau that he was working at.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was really bummed out about getting kicked off. I was kind of pissed. I was like, geez, first, it's so embarrassing. It sucks.
Yeah.
And, you know, and the guy that kicked me off is obviously what do they call him again? The guy the host.
How does that?
What is it? What's his name? I forget.
I can't remember.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But they call him something like the councilman.
Grandmaster.
The Grandmaster.
Yeah, I think.
So he's like, you know, he kid off, and I was just like, you know, he was in my living rent free in my brain, and so I get to this resort, and sure enough, all over the hotel, there's like this Hawaiian magazine. Mm-hmm. I forgot what the name of the magazine was, but it's a really good magazine, and it's him on the front cover. And so, like, for the next week, like, if I go take a shit in the bathroom, like, it's
there
like, he's there. Like,
Yeah.
if I go to my room, he's there. Like, it was like everywhere I went in this hotel, he was
They're like, oh, you want to go to Hawaii?
you
Huh?
wanna go? I was like, what is going on? You know, but me, I turned it into, like, I'm meant to be here.
Yeah.
You know, this is my, I guess I was, but. Well, that's cool. You didn't ever do anything competition-wise, did you? Like a food fight or?
I auditioned for Top Chef a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it was for Seattle, Top Chef Seattle.
Yeah.
And they flew me out to LA for the pre-screening testing,
yes.
the last group before they make the final cut.
They sequester you and all that shit.
And I didn't make the final cut.
Yeah.
And they picked this other guy from DC, and I was like, you picked that dude over me?
Yeah.
And then I never went back because I really hated the whole experience.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
And the only good thing was I still smoked cigarettes then.
Oh, yeah.
And because I smoked cigarettes, I could actually leave my room because they would get someone and they'd come out and then you could go out and have a cigarette and then they would take you back to your room.
Yeah.
Who
So
was the DC guy they picked?
Oh, yeah. It's a no name. Who cares?
It was Dan. He was the one. He ended up that episode.
He won it all.
No. He got
kicked off
first or second, and he harassed that girl, the chef from Hinoki and the Bird. That was like the big controversy. He made some kind of like inappropriate Asian joke.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. So they picked wrong. So, you know, I auditioned 2 the first time,
Yeah.
and I was flown to LA, same thing. And for those people that don't know, what they do is like they receive you at the airport, and then like from that point on, you're basically sequestered. So you have to stay in a hotel room, locked. You can't go anywhere. They send like a psych, you know,
you do a psych evaluation.
And you go through all this stuff, and then you know you gotta stay in your room, and then they send you back home, and then eventually you find out if you're on and on. And I didn't get picked for season 3.
Yeah, I think for me it was. They went straight into shooting after that.
Oh, really?
Because the first episode was like they cut more people on the first episode doing like an omelet test or something.
Oh, yeah. That's when they started getting like
so it was like
with the competition.
They went from 30 to 20
Yeah.
on the first episode. I was like, I couldn't even make the 30. But then, you know, I have a lot, you included and other
It's
people.
a blessing in
A
disguise
lot of people
sometimes,
that did Top Chef, and they're like, you know, if that happened to all of us.
Yeah.
We went once, we didn't make it the first time. You just got to keep going
I wrote a hate mail actually to Andy Cohen. I was like, your show sucks. It's gonna go. I thought I was cheeky with my words. I was like, your show's gonna go up in flames, and you made the worst decision ever.
Yeah.
Send, and I didn't hear back from him. Right.
And they brought it up during your re-audition.
Well, no. So like 6-7 months later, like I get an email back to that email from Andy Cohen. Hey, Spike, I really loved your first audition. Like, you know, sorry we couldn't make it, you know, for season 3, but would you go through the entire process again for season 4? And I was like, oh, really? Like, I got to go do this sequestering, this psych evaluation. I was like, I did it anyways. I was happy I did, but it just goes to show you, you know, don't give up on your dreams, people out there.
Yeah, I just realized TV, like, set show is not for me. I enjoy like the one-offs where they come and they shoot the restaurant for the day. You know, we've done Diners, Dives, and Drives. We just did Somebody Feeds Phil. We've done a bunch of those little ones, but
I didn't thrive on that show. I only thrived because
you did good.
I did good from a point. It wasn't exactly. It was good TV. It wasn't my, you know, I don't cook on the fly. I mean, I could cook on the fly, but I don't cook on the fly like that.
Yeah.
And it was a very weird thought coming from the kitchens I was coming from, where you take like your time and you're cooking the dish 10, 12 times and you're tweaking and you're doing this and like, you know, you're thinking about it. I wasn't, you know, I was smoked a ton of weed, so I was like a quick thinker on my feet. You know, I just needed that time. So I had to basically survive off drama and personality, which worked out. I mean, quite well for me.
You know, like all those early guys, like they were all really good.
Yeah,
really, really good.
Yeah, like Harold.
Yeah, and
Marcel, Elon Hall.
What was the Vietnamese guy? I still follow him on
Hun.
Yeah, so good. I'll never forget the chicken episode. That's a classic TV.
He's known for that, the breaking down of that chicken.
Yeah.
Hun just broke down a chicken like I think it was like 23 seconds or something like that.
But I've been still following all you guys from those because I used to love watching that show.
Yeah.
It was good TV.
What do you think about The Bear now?
I don't watch it. No, I haven't watched one episode.
No? Why not? You're like rebelling.
It's just like I don't want to watch stressful work situations.
Are you
like stressful HR relationship, HR related nightmares like unfold on my TV screen? Like I lived all.
You're
of
like
that.
I live this thing every day. You're like I'm good.
I don't even need to even know what's going on. And I'm sure it's a great show, but it's just like it's filmed in a colleague's restaurant of mine in Chicago, a beautiful restaurant,
Yeah.
And so like all that, and I love Chicago, and they film a lot of it there.
Yeah.
So, but no, I'm good.
Yeah. No. I think I do watch it because my wife wanted to watch it, and she's like was panicking while we were watching it.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can't believe like all this kind of stuff. I think like what it's done is like we've been in this like celebrity chef life, rock star chef kind of thing right now. Like we've been we're being celebrated more than we ever have, and the next evolution is like we do charitable things. We we go into get into policy items. We lobby on the Hill, and I think this show, for better or worse, whatever you want to watch it, you don't want to watch it. What it did, it was actually put on display on what the back of the house feels like a little bit, and like some of the stresses and the HR complaints and the things that these individual cooks go through on a day to day. I think you and I are fortunate to the point that we've been able to like crawl out of cooking for other people and cooking for our own brands and ourselves. But most of the 95% of the industry are clocking in for a shift and clocking out.
If they want to make it super accurate, like half the show needs to be bilingual. Then it would be very true. Then I'll watch it.
Dude, that would be that.
If it's really the chef standing there and someone like
oh my God,
saying everything in Spanish and you're like, I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to tell me. What do you need?
What do you need from me?
Yeah. And then the chef learning Spanish over a course of 10 years like we did. That's the real experience.
Totally.
Yeah.
How's your Spanglish these days?
It's really good. It was actually like one of my worst grades in school. And I always had so many issues with my Spanish teacher in high school. And I think she would be super proud of how good my Spanish is now.
Oh my God. We used to, I mean, it was wrong, but I've had a couple, like in my New York, I had a restaurant called My House in New York. It was with Drew Nipperant and own it. It was just the chef.
Yeah, the
Vietnamese restaurant.
Drew.
Yeah, Drew. Yes. We filmed this too. Drew, hey, get hose. Drew's amazing.
Icon.
Big icon. I some of my favorite moments in New York were sitting in his office, listening to him scold everybody while he drinks a matcha tea.
I learned about Drew through the Paul LeBrant documentary.
Oh, dude, do you know who had to deal with the Paul LeBrant the entire time?
You?
Me.
Great documentary, though.
He was, and he ended up actually dating my ex-fiance.
Okay.
Which was a funny connection, which was, I mean, good for him because that was obviously done. But he opened up a good restaurant. The thing with Paul LeBrant is, I just think he took himself a little too seriously.
So intense.
Yeah, he's so intense, and like I think it did a disservice to some of his career at least, because the dude is uber talented. There goes no doubt, and he's tested, and he's worked for some of the greats. I think he even worked for maybe at some point in the Mark Pierre White kitchen, or maybe it was Gordon Ramsay, one or the other. But yeah, so he opened up his restaurant called what was the fancy restaurant he opened with?
I can't remember, but it was with Drew.
It was with Drew.
And the whole documentary is about the opening.
And everything he needed to test recipes, I had to order all his food for him. And then he prepped in my basement kitchen, which was like a New York City basement kitchen, not to the levels of Paul LeBrant, what he wants. And man, he was hard to deal with. Yeah. He was hard to deal with.
Which at the time is very accurate reflection of the documentary. But
yeah,
I think he's changed a lot too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah. I mean, listen, we all go through our moments, and you all evolve, and big shout out to Paul LeBrant, what he's done. Yeah. I mean, incredible stuff. I learned a couple things. You got to leave. You got to go.
No.
I'm just checking in.
No. You check time. Time's good.
Yeah. Time's good. Yeah. I mean, we're good. I have nothing to do.
3-ish is good.
this is long form.
I'm supposed to have dinner with my wife later, so I can't use up all of my social battery.
Yeah, that's true. You're just gonna be like sitting there while she's.
So what'd you guys talk about? Like, do
we want to bring her in here for a little bit? Does she want to come in?
No, I don't think she's
not here. She's not here.
Talk shit about me. We're good.
Oh, we should definitely bring her in. Like, why not? Let's bring the wifey in.
You can ask.
Does she have a chili on her right now?
No, we're home.
We're okay.
I think she is a long-winded storyteller that will add a lot of time.
Oh, really? I mean, I love that. That's exactly what we wanted.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying the tea, my man? What do you think?
It's really good.
Going through the flavors. You get to. By the way, you get to keep this pizza. You get to keep all the tea.
Oh, thank you. So I'm drinking dragon green tea. I tried.
Dragon green. Fink, you got any other industry fanboy questions?
No, I've just been very impressed with Erik's resume. I used to live in Woodley Park near the Line Hotel. So
nice. When it was good.
Broths, all the rest. The food there was amazing. Yeah, I know why it took 3 years to open with all the construction.
That was the
drama.
worst.
Yeah, the politics of that hotel. But the restaurant there was top of the line.
Yeah.
It was hard to get reservations. Very expensive, but very good quality.
Lemon black.
Lemon is delicious.
We get all our tea from Mozambique, largest organic tea garden in the world. I just went out there. It was incredible.
I was just learning about the how Nestle's stifled coffee growers in Mexico. That's what I've been.
What are they doing?
Instant coffee, it's a very specific bean.
Yeah.
And so they have a whole region of farmers agree to switch to this new bean, and they would be the exclusive bean producer for the Nestle instant coffee product for all of their different versions of that. And then over the course of time, instead of doing the purchases direct, they created a whole bunch of different offshoot companies, and then basically pigeoned them all into a really crappy price.
Ugh.
And they can't diversify because all of their fields are specifically grown for
that one bean.
Cartel.
Yeah.
It's the coffee bean cartel for sure.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah. Anyways, the line. Yeah.
The line is awesome. And I wanted to give you props because And Pizza seems like it's winning, even though you don't work there anymore. The fast casual pizza wars. Nice. Not putting yours.
Hey Jason, go fuck yourself. All right.
No,
he hasn't franchised yet. You haven't franchised yet.
Widespread.
I'm going to put you back on mute right now.
We're gonna hit one of your.
No, what's the no seriously? What's the other competition? There's one that LeBron James is.
Oh yeah, in terms of those,
there's Mod Pizza. There's
Mods are pretty.
There's
not the upscale We the Pizza.
Well, no, I mean we're not upscale. I mean,
I'm saying the ones where you create your own pizza.
Your whole pie. They're individual.
Yeah. Well, they're like a flatbread, really.
The flatbread and the Quiznos
is it
oven.
pizza? Is it not pizza?
It should be pizza, but through consistency issues, it becomes flatbread.
You know what I do? Okay, listen. This is
But that's also the same thing that's going to happen anytime you put 55 things on your pizza.
Listen, the food got better at N Pizza.
Yeah.
Way better.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've been there.
And consistent.
And consistent.
Yeah.
Way better. But the brilliance behind L'Storia is that he's a marketing kind of guru a little bit, right? He knows how to market a brand and he knows how to do that stuff. And I also think what I giggle about, which I love, because I love these small little thing of restaurants that really make up why people really go there. And the idea of being able to walk with your own little personal rectangular box.
Yeah.
I think the vessel.
Yeah.
And pizza. I mean, listen, the food has to be good, like you said.
Yeah.
It has to be consistent, like you said.
Yeah.
But this idea of being able to sit down and put a box on your knees, like they do in the air. When I see them in the airports all the time, right?
Genius.
And it's just genius. And I just go in my mind. I'm like, this is a big box, but you're not putting this box on your lap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the genius part to me. I'm like, man, the vessel of this dough with some type of sauce and ingredients on top, and it's and you look cool. The box looks cool.
Yeah.
It looks like a boutique little something. That's to me is what was brilliant about that.
And it's a good price point.
It was a unique product.
Yeah. And listen, there's others going to come after it. Well, there's still huge pizza wars going on.
Good and interesting enough, the whole new pizza war is more about how close to the peak of best pizza can you do. That's what the pizza war seems
Tell
to
me,
be.
tell me a little bit about that. I feel like I need to know this.
It's just a lot of like fucking nerds talking about hydration.
Oh,
and
there is,
and
yeah.
like size and crust and
Dude, people are going crazy with hydration these days.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of like
I saw this
people
new,
doing COVID making sourdoughs and pizza doughs.
Yeah.
And
What was it? I saw this guy the other day took a dough, like a huge ball of pizza dough. He had like cut it up into like he was about to roll it in dough balls.
yeah.
But he put it back into the Hobart machine.
Uh-huh.
Added more flour, more yeast, and just
Double rose it.
double the double roast flour dough
Yeah.
with like 86% hydration rate or something like
Yeah.
that, and literally it's so much hydration they're using scissors to cut the pizza.
Yeah, it sounds just like you're eating crackers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
But-
too much.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm like my space where my head with pizza right now is like I think there's like the better pizza movement that could happen in like suburbia and like pushing outside of urban areas. I love what I've talked about it endlessly on this podcast, but Victor and Taco Bamba and when he's doing these like locations that you wouldn't typically see a chef with notoriety go into and open up a spot
And then every menu be different at every
Every menu be
location. I'm
different.
like, you're wild.
You're wild, right? Like it is.
Yeah.
He loves that.
He loves it, but I think it creates his own set of headaches for it.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. I mean, with as you grow larger and larger, that model might have to.
He's stuck with it though.
He has, and we'll see how long it does. I mean, I wonder.
Everyone is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every single restaurant is different.
I think he has like 4 core tacos,
Yeah.
which are I think just like
Yeah.
you just have like a simple taco.
Yeah.
And then every place on the custom stuff, they're all different by location.
Yeah.
So like one you like at this, not going to be at the other one.
Yeah.
And that's really cool, actually, because I've experienced that on like Uber Eats and DoorDash.
Yeah.
Because you can pick the specific like location. So
Yeah.
you'll see different.
Are you just farming for sponsorship, Jason?
No, I'm
By
just
dropping the Uber Eats and I'm just messing.
We're working
No,
for
it's interesting
career
'cause,
paths.
you get the different you get to see the different menus on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
delivery
Yeah.
sites.
No, I like that. I mean, I have 3 within like 8, within a few miles from me. So it's like I can go eat
Yeah.
at any one of his 3 restaurants get something different. I think it's cool, but it is operationally a
Operationally insane.
fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Probably, but he's probably handling it well, and he added liquor, which is great. He gets good thing. What else is out there? What else are people doing good that we love? Huh? Who should we promote? Guys, if you
should
get
we
your
promote?
name mentioned on this podcast, by the way, you have to come do it.
You have to at least rent
Yeah.
Spike's documentary on Amazon.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
So he
and
can get his
download
residuals.
download Eric's
You
like
should offer,
album.
like a code.
Yeah.
If they subscribe, they get a free code to download the documentary.
Yeah, 100%. I'll make you a pizza. Eric can vouch for it.
I don't know. I feel like I'm drawing a blank, but I feel like I support a lot of stuff.
All right. Well,
Unfortunately.
listen. We can talk about like what do you hate about this industry?
I hate pretending I like everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, let's dive a little deeper on that one. Let's dive.
Well, okay. For example, I took my wife to a restaurant on Monday for her birthday with the kids.
Yeah.
Right, and it was like the family mom's birthday dinner.
Yeah.
And it's I know the chef, I know their PR people. We make the reservation. On the reservation, they ask you if you celebrated anything, and we hit birthday. We're super conscious. We make a reservation at 5:00. It's a busy restaurant. We don't want to be disruptive with 3 children under 9.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't a good experience. We didn't have a good experience.
Yeah.
And we had been there before and have had a good experience before.
Yeah.
But they sent us a survey afterwards from their reservation platform, and I filled it out because why would you send it if you don't want people to fill it out?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And chef called me and he was so mad.
He was mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Why'd you fill out the survey? You should have just called me." And I'm like, "Well, I know that the survey is only internal. It's not like it's gonna change your score on anything, right? It's an internal review. Like,
Right.
you asked me to fill it out. I filled it out.
Yeah. What'd you say?
What do you want me to
What are the
do?
issues?
And he was like, we're colleagues. You should have just called me. And I was like, it's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I filled out the survey.
Yeah. You asked me to fill out the survey. I filled out the survey.
Yeah, you don't want me to fill out the survey?
It feels like a curb episode.
You didn't even know I was there
Yeah.
until I filled out the survey.
Yeah. That's part of the problem.
That's actually the problem. And they're just short staffed, right? So the whole experience just felt like a place that's short staffed. But it was expensive. Like for the 5 of us, it was probably $300+
Yeah.
And we just didn't have a good experience. And like we still had fun because as a family we're fun.
Yeah.
But it just didn't feel like I took my wife out for a birthday
something
dinner.
awesome. This happened to us last night.
Yeah.
So it was my sister's birthday, Micheline, yesterday. And we went to a place at the wharf. We'll keep it unnamed.
Yeah.
But it was great.
But that's because like
I
I hate having to pretend I like everything. Like we're still keeping these places unnamed to be nice, right?
Yeah, totally. We're going to keep them unnamed to be nice. We had, 12 people. They forced us into a tasting menu.
Yeah.
Right? Which that's like,
Yeah, they're already hating it.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, what the fuck, right? And so like, it's a variety of appetizers to bring to the table. Then you get a choice of like, one of these 4 entrees, and you get dessert or whatever.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe what the fuck was happening at this place.
Yeah.
This place probably pays $100,000 in rent a month.
At the wharf, for sure.
Right. And it's a big place. And we're ordering food. And it's like no one knows what the fuck is going on, right? It's like these appetizers are coming out on massive, like there's nothing I hate more than like an unused, like just the china being just too extravagant. Like you can't have, there's nowhere to eat, Yeah. And they're bringing it out. I'm just fucking bumming on this thing, and then it's like, oh, can you give me a Diet Coke? And then it's like 4 people like are huddling in the corner. I was like, just give me the fucking Diet Coke, right? And it comes like 10 minutes later, for instance, and like they're not taking our order. And I was just, and I had one guy that wasn't part of the family, an investor that I wanted to come meet Micheline and everything, and just so happened he was in town, so we invited him. But we're fucking animals, dude. Like my family, when we're out to dinner, it's like I've noticed we're not normal.
Yeah.
I think we're a little too judgy.
Yeah.
I think we're sitting there and like we used to hold back.
Yeah.
But we don't really hold back anymore.
No, because like
I think we're just like, I don't know if it's like kind of like, I don't know what is it in me, but we just don't hold back anymore. I'm like, you're sitting here in this amazing location. You're fucking got all this money to build this fucking restaurant.
Yeah.
And like, you're putting up.
They probably booked you in the PDR.
Yeah, exactly.
Expensive.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're just putting shit on a plate. Like it was just like, we were so, and listen, we didn't want to ruin my sister's dinner, so we didn't go in hard, but like, you get my mother to get and I on a corner of a table together.
You just go.
We fucking we destroy. Yeah. We destroy. So yeah, that was
So you wouldn't go back?
No, 100% wouldn't go back, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's
probably people we know, right?
It's probably people we know. Yeah.
And it's just
I think I know what it is.
Yeah. And it's and I'll give the benefit of a doubt if I see kind of what you're saying, they feel as understaffed. Right. Yeah. Or like they're struggling a little bit. Like I'll go back maybe, right? Just to give it another go.
I won't for a certain price point.
But exactly. That's the point. Like my mother looked at me. She's like, this is going to be a fucking argument tomorrow in the office when I call back about this check number. Yeah. Right. And the service. It was just like, service it's like, I get more depressed about service than the quality of food sometimes these days, because I feel like that to me is, you cannot give me an okay meal and have amazing service.
Yeah, like Carbone's, right? Like
exactly.
I don't love the food at Carbone's.
Yeah,
but I have a great time.
Exactly, fantastic time.
Yeah, well, there's Rick Ross right there.
Yeah, you can't even fucking get a reservation in these places. This guy that
this is okay, but I'm having a fucking blast.
I just read
and service was good. That's why I used to love RPM.
Oh yeah,
because like it wasn't my favorite place to eat, but the service was perfect every time.
Yeah.
And it was like I'm having a great time. It's not,
Yeah, it's nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy, but it's it was really good every single time on the service level.
Yeah, I agree there. I forgot what I was saying. I was gonna, I don't know. What were you going to say, Jason?
No, got nothing.
You guys are done. Well, guys, I feel like we should maybe just wrap this up now. I feel like we've been in here for a couple hours.
Yeah, before we actually start name dropping people we don't like.
It can go bad. It can actually go to a very dark place.
We're in a positive location.
Yeah.
We're catching up. We don't
listen. But I just want to say this because I know I talk a lot of shit here sometimes on the podcast. Like, big shout out to the industry as a whole.
Yes,
it's hard out there,
hard.
guys. You guys are doing awesome, and we're just sometimes being a little nitpicky. But I won't return to that restaurant on the wharf, just to let you guys. Eric, anything you want? Any shout outs you want to give? Family, anything? Restaurants? Tell people where to go. Anything you want.
Oh man, I wasn't prepared for that, but
to tell them about your, the Power 10, where the people can go donate.
So you can, always follow me on Instagram at Erik Bruner-Yang. That's Eric with a K. And then our work is at the power of 10initiative.com if you want to donate or just reach out. Or if you know anybody in need in the DMV area, just let us know. We kind of like to fill in the gaps. And, I'm bi-coastal for work. So if you're on the West Coast, hit me up. Always looking for cool things to do and to check out.
Awesome. Well, guys, that wraps it up. Let's go. Thank you, everyone, for joining on this captivating episode of In the Weeds. Chef Erik Bruner-Yang. A special shout out to our fantastic sponsors, Just Iced Tea and We The Pizza. Discover the refreshing taste of Just Iced Tea at eatthechange.com and satisfy your pizza cravings with the We The Pizza at wethepizza.com. I promise you won't regret it. And a huge thank you goes to our broadcast home, DC Central Kitchen, for their unwavering support. They're not just serving up food, they're serving up real change. Learn more and get involved at dccentralkitchen.org. And guys, to catch up on any past episodes or subscribe for future ones, head over to the intheweedspod.com, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. The kitchen may be closed for now, but the conversation never stops. We are 86 for now. Until next time, guys.